in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
And we welcome you in, everybody. It is a manic Monday, and we kick off another week here on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. Gwynn and Chris underway, and back in town, Tony Gwynn Jr. out at Petco Park. Padres have finally returned home, first time after the All-Star break, taking on the New York Mets tonight. Pretty good ball game. Mets have won 7 straight, so they are hot, hot, hot. And the Padres, of course, were hot, hot, hot over the weekend in St. Louis.
Yes, we were. Very hot.
Tony Gwynn Jr., the first thing I would have done when I got off the flight last night back in the friendly confines of San Diego is step outside and gasped for some fresh air rather than that thick, humid crap you've had to breathe for 4 straight days in St. Louis. Ugh.
Yeah, no, I can actually feel the air go through my nose at this point.
Isn't it nice?
So much. I mean, I got off the plane yesterday. It was about 8 o'clock, I think, we got off. And it was just nice to feel like an actual breeze that didn't feel like a blow dryer in your face. It felt like, refreshing almost.
It's unbelievable that, people live there. They want to live in St. Louis,
It
Missouri.
is unbelievable that people live there. You're right.
It's a free country. You can live wherever you want. And and I hear how great it is too. The middle of the country, everybody's nicer and more friendly. And that's because
I will say that the Midwest does hold the reputation of being very, very good, wholesome, nice people.
They're wholesome, nice people because they can't breathe. They have no choice but to be that way, I say.
I guess so.
Yeah, anyway, Padres, they had us all holding our breath there for a little bit. Padres did after losing the first 2 games of the series. But, Tony, as they have done now for, I don't know, the umpteenth time this season, just when it seems like I'm ready to go into a little bit of a panic mode, they rescue it. They win the last 2 games of the series, and they won going away yesterday, which was a nice thing to see. And surprisingly, folks, on this 10-game road trip, the Padres scored 7 or more runs 4 times. Maybe a sign that things are turning around, I hope.
Step up.
Right.
It's a step up for sure. I think everything you said is true. I think the Padres this year, this is their version of what last year's version of was like getting to 500 and then like getting a game over and then like going 3 under, right?
Right.
That was kind of like their thing. This year, it seems like just when it seems like it's about to go like cattywampus bad.
I know.
They have 2 wins like yesterday, and it kind of resets things. But I'll say what I said to Jesse yesterday. Ultimately, it only matters based on what the team in front, the Dodgers, are doing and the wild card teams are doing. In this particular case, during that stretch of games, fortunately, the Dodgers were losing too. And on the days that the Padres happened to win, the Dodgers kind of lost a couple of those. So you sit after a 5-5 road trip, you sit 4 games back. You only lose a half a game from where you were when you went on the road trip. And so I think the question is, and it points to what you just mentioned, four of those games, the Padres were able to score 7 runs or more, right? I think if they can, if there's another gear, if this is an indicator that the offense may be starting to turn a corner, that's a good thing. And I think that's ultimately what we want to hope for, because the more runs you score, the less you'll have to see of the 4 Musketeers.
Yes,
at the end of the day.
Yes, and my goodness, they did it again. I want to give just a quick shout out before we shove him under the rug here to Randy Vasquez again, who drives me crazy, drives everyone crazy. Okay, but first of all, he only gave up 3 base runners the other night. And I look, to quietly leave a ball game after 4 2/3 innings with nobody on base and a 1-run lead when you're 1 out away from getting the win, And then after the game to say, hey, I'm doing whatever I can to help this team win. There are a lot of guys that would not have been pleased with having to give up their chance to win that game. But look, this has happened to him all year. He's only got 3 wins. But you know what's interesting? The Padres have a better record in the games that Randy Vasquez has started this year than they do in the games that Nick Pivetta has started this year. You've got to give Vasquez at least some of the credit for that. And, on a day when they had to win, they couldn't, give up a big 4 spot early in the game. He did his thing, and he put the 4 horsemen in position to win it. And so I just wanted to, not forget about his contribution Saturday night.
Yeah, we shouldn't. And he's thrown the ball well his last 2 starts and had to be yanked out under the same circumstances, basically, in back-to-back games. I do want to say that, I think part of what makes Vasquez important, aside from what he does on the field, is kind of speaks to what you just talked about after the game. He did pitch well enough to be able to garner a chance to get through that inning.
Yeah.
But he recognized that, I think, earlier in the season the Padres gave him those opportunities and he didn't handle those opportunities well. And so now it seems like the Padres have basically mapped out the road that he's going to go, and they're not going to move off of it, right? He goes 4 1/3 this time. He went 4 1/3 last time. Almost the exact same
pretty much
situation. Yeah. They pulled him out. And I think it takes some self-awareness to recognize that, all right, I was given an opportunity earlier in the year to kind of navigate this. I struggled. And now we're at a point in the season where, you get a lead, you want to win these games, ultimately, because the Padres are chasing the Dodgers. They're trying to hold off who's ever under them in the wild card. And we're into basically August now. So I just think it takes some humility. It takes some self-awareness to be able to be like, you know what, at the end of the day, I just want to help this team win in any way, shape, or form. Now, listen, I have a feeling if he keeps going out there and gets to those points, eventually they're going to let him go. They're going to let him have another shot at it. Just in this road trip in particular, right?
No.
You're coming off of winning 2 or 3 in Washington. They turn over into the next series, and you're trying to win that series as well. And so I just think they have mapped out, as it pertains to Vasquez, how they're going to go, especially if they feel like they're in a spot where they could use, and their bullpen was as rested as it was that day. They could afford to do it.
Yeah, it's bad news for Vasquez because he follows Pivetta, and that means that the bullpen is almost always rested.
A great point.
Number one. Number 2, they don't give him any runs to work with. He had a 2-1 lead. There was no room for error, and they needed to get Morejon and that bullpen in the game as soon as they could. So
that's such a great
that's
point.
just how it works. I mean, look, Kolek yesterday was good. He gave up the 2-run homer, but by that time it was 7-0. It's a little different story. Right. So
it's such a great point that Vasquez is following Pivetta, so it does set up Schulte to be able to use that bullpen like that, because Pivetta is really the guy that's going 6 or 7 every time he goes out there.
Yeah, but anyway, look, they got the win that they had to get, I thought, Saturday, and Schulte knew they had to get it, and everybody came through. And then Sunday, look, I mean, if Manny Machado keeps doing this, first of all, he's going to win the batting title, which is something we never thought about. He's had 5 straight games now with 2 hits or more. In most of those games, he's had 3 hits or 4 hits. I think he was 11 for 17 this weekend when they weren't hitting him with a pitch, and we'll talk about that too. But I just love it when he's swinging like this. I'm sure he's enjoying it as well. And we've talked about it. Everybody else can contribute, but Manny can carry you when he's like this, and that's what happened at least the last 2 days, Tony.
Yeah, no, Manny he's kind of the same way. Just when you feel like, oh, here comes Manny's first real slump.
Yeah, right.
Boom, he goes 11 for 17 in a series, in a 4-game set,
man, and
is just looking pretty much like you can't get him out if he was trying to allow you to get him out. And so, yeah, man, there's I guess mediocre as that road trip turned out to be with 5-5 record, there was a lot of things that you liked offensively that you finally started to see a little bit of. I mean, they played small ball to perfection on Friday, or what was that, Saturday, I guess it was.
Right. Even yesterday, they played some small ball. They got 9 runs yesterday, but they had a lot of runs that kind of snuck in the back door yesterday. So
they did. They also ran the base, after Friday's kind of off game, executing in terms of base running and a bunch of other things. The last 2 games, the sharpness in which they played, I thought was stood out to me for sure.
Yeah. Manny Machado hitting 300 on the nose, and one of only 2 hitters in the National League who's doing that. The other one is our favorite catcher, Will Smith, who's at 324, but that's the only batting average ahead of Manny's in the entire National League right now. We got to talk more about Manny because there was a lot of controversy this week with the hit by pitches. John Jay, a former Padre, actually. I hadn't heard that name in a long time, but boy, we heard it a lot this weekend. We'll discuss what, if anything, that all meant. Yes, the trade deadline is 4 days away. If you're wondering, the only player traded today was Chris Paddock, the former Padre, the sheriff.
He's a Tiger.
He's on his way to Detroit. That's a weird one in the sense that the Twins traded him in his own division, but maybe the Twins just want to face him a couple of times down the stretch. So
I don't know. He hasn't thrown the ball pretty.
Yeah.
He's throwing the ball pretty well, and Detroit needs arms at this point. They got some guys hurt at this point. So
the Tigers have been fading, so they get Chris Paddock. But other than that, everybody else has stayed put, at least so far today. We will talk some baseball and the trade deadline coming up in this hour with MLB radio guy. Now, where did his name go?
Mike Ferrin.
Thank you, Mike Ferrin. Yes. From MLB Network will join us. So we'll have Mike on at the bottom of the hour. Talk about Manny and the controversy and the road trip. More Gwynn and Chris as we get underway. Happy to have you with us Monday on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan.
There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, so he's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well, so... So Chris says I can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just leaving 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a red runner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says I can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
We are just around league 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us.
He got ejected, so
I mean, don't come out there and start jabbing your mouth.
so we were mistaken. We're not.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What was the biggest frustration for you with, say, you upset with the situation? What was the frustration? That you had been hit? Or was it that?
You want to go here? Look. You want my BGs too? You want my BGs? You want to go up there and hit? You let me know how that feels.
Can't feel good.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, that answers your question there. You know. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's what it is. You know. I mean, poor kid. You know, he comes up. You know, I know he probably doesn't want to do that in that situation. You know, obviously, you know, you see him what he does. It kind of feels bad. I mean, you're just pissed off. You know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, there's nothing to it. But then you got somebody else coming up and yapping it mouth. That's when it starts getting real.
Always was the bubble that burst of whatever friendship they had.
Right, if whatever might have been left, because they were friends at one point, right? Apparently,
that's what. Yeah, they definitely knew each other very well.
Yeah.
That is whatever has taken place. It's not as cozy as it once was, and Manny made that pretty obvious. A lot going on after our show Friday. We had a benches clearing incident. Nick Pivetta and Wilson Contreras got things rolling. Fastball in, clipped him. It was hard. You could see why somebody would be upset. The problem was, and this is so much how all these things kind of happen. It depends on personalities. It depends on circumstances. This is relatively early in the game. So really were no circumstances that would have led to it. However, though, the other factor is personalities. These two personalities probably are like oil and water. Pivetta clips Contreras. Contreras looks out. I don't think he had any intention of doing anything, but he wanted to let Pivetta know, hey, that ain't cool. Pivetta, knowing the Pivetta we know every day, certainly wasn't going to take that and back down. He basically told him, hey, stop looking at me. And so this is where the boys being boys thing kind of comes in. You stop looking at me. What'd you say to me? And then so all of a sudden we got benches clear. No real anything at this point, right? And so we move on. The following day, Mr. Contreras gets hits again. Not on purpose again. None of these, by the way, I think were intentional. But
we should point out real quick, Tony, so that people get this. Contreras has been hit as much as any player in baseball this year already.
Second most.
Right, second most. And to me, I think something the Padre fans can identify with, he's similar to Fernando in the sense that people feel like they have to pitch inside to try to get him
100%.
out. So that's why
100%.
Fernando gets so many pitches that are close. And so Contreras gets the same thing. And so that's a part of it. I think we should just mention that part of it.
That's absolutely a part of it, for sure. And so nothing happens Friday. Saturday comes along. Contreras gets hit again, this time by Vasquez. Vasquez clearly, like the whole time after Vasquez hit it, he's trying to get Contreras' attention.
Yeah.
Contreras, a little irritated. He got hit again, and that was after a pitch that was up and in that almost hit him. He's irritated, but kind of in the same line or same vein when Snell hit Harper that day. You guys remember that? Snell hit Harper. Harper was pissed, and I think he ended up yelling at Snell, like, get it over the plate. He said, I didn't mean to. And he said, I know. But he was still pissed.
But I'm still mad. Yeah.
Because his arm, his hand was broken at the time. So kind of in that same vein, Vasquez eventually gets Contreras' attention, and it's all good. Contreras is, let him know that it was all good. However, let's rewind back to the Dodgers Padres. Remember, Toddy had gotten hit a few times. Intentional or unintentional, at some point, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
At some point, there has to be a message sent to, hey, you can't just keep hitting our guys and nothing's going to happen. So what happens? Manny gets clipped one time. And what did Manny do? And this is the best part about, I think, Saturday's whole thing compared to Friday's. And this is even a course correction from Wilson Contreras, who ignited the first day that led to warnings. Second day, he didn't ignite anything. And that also went for Manny Machado. When he got hit, Manny's a pro's pro. He understands what's happening. He didn't make a big stink. He went to first base. We moved on. However, the second time
that's exactly what happened, by the way. And people, we've heard this before, Tony, and maybe you hear it more around baseball than I do. I see a lot of people talk about the subject. Who are baseball players that fans and teams and players and everybody else love to hate? And I see Manny's name pop up on this list all the time. And I know it's going, is it all just go back to the fact that he knocked over Dustin Pedroia all those years ago? Or does it go back to the fact he stepped on the guy's foot at first base when he was with the Dodgers in Milwaukee? What is it? Why does it? Because Manny seems like a legit guy when he's out there. When I see him play,
I think there's been some misfortune for Manny. I'll take you back to that Pedroia thing. We'll get sidetracked here, but I'm willing to do it.
Yeah.
Manny had gotten thrown at in that particular game, and this was in an era where there was no sliding rules at this point, right? And so for a lot of times when a hitter got hit in that era of baseball, his only course of action at that point was either to charge the mound or to get somebody on a double play or force play, one of those two. He ends up getting Pedroia. You can make an argument that it was a tough, hard, clean slide that happened to catch Dustin in his knee and take him out. In my opinion, if you go back and watch the whole Manny stepping on my man's foot, his foot is like halfway on the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like Manny either steps on his foot or steps on the outside of the bag and rolls his ankle in the playoff game, by the way.
Yeah.
So, I think those two situations led to the whole idea of the guy you love to hate most in Manny being on that list.
All right. But what needs to be pointed out is back to what you said, is that when he got hit the first time, Saturday night, he knew it, and he went to first base. That was it.
He went to first base.
Right.
Now, the second time he got hit, he wasn't so much mad that he got hit, although he said it wasn't, that doesn't feel good. I think he was more upset that there was already warnings issued at that point.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
No one was ejected. Now, the rule is in today's game, there was a time where if warnings were issued, you hit the next guy got hit and they deemed you doing it on purpose, they could immediately eject you. That is no longer the case. They have to now come to a meeting and discuss it, whether they felt like
I didn't realize
it was
that.
intentional.
Okay.
So there's four minds on it versus one guy just being able to heave-ho somebody that he felt was done intentional. So I think initially that's what Manny was upset about.
Well, those four guys got it wrong, by the way, because I guarantee you that second time was intentional too. I don't think. Do you? You think it got away by that much? Hit him right in the thigh? I don't know.
Did it hit him in the thigh or hit him in his elbow?
I mean, elbow, yeah, right there by the waist. So
I don't know. Listen, I'm not the big guy upstairs, so I can't tell you what he was thinking ultimately. But I just the reason why I think we're probably all done with that now is because of how everybody handled it on Saturday when there were multiple guys hit. Nobody escalated it more. And I think it's the same thing for when the Dodgers come back here. I don't think that's going to escalate anymore because of the way Ohtani and Toddy handled it. And, we talk often, we had I don't know, maybe about a 5-year course where society was looking down on how Major League Baseball was handling these things. We're having these archaic talks of, they got to change. Nobody can throw it. It's like, this is how it's supposed to be done. If guys understand where they are and they don't escalate these situations, it just gets handled as this one did. And then what happened Sunday? Nothing. We all moved on. They got their butts kicked. Nobody's feelings were hurt. And then the game was played all 9 innings.
I have one little bit of advice, though, to John Jay. When the Cardinals come to town this weekend, might want to wear a jacket over the jersey when you're walking out on the field before the game, just so the fans don't know it's you. Because I think the fans are going to give him a pretty hard time if they recognize John Jay. Because he certainly escalated everything.
He did. He's not on the field, though. He's not a first base coach or a third base coach. So, the fans won't really have an opportunity to let him know how they feel. But it was pretty clear that whatever he said, it turned it up for Manny. And then Manny let you know how he felt after the game was over. So
yes, and Yonder Alonso stuck up for Manny as well. And Instagrammed or tweeted out a picture of a rat emoji. A rat emoji. So,
for the record, he did erase that, by the way. So he had second thoughts on it. But,
Adam Klug got me a copy of it. You can't get
Twitter
it past Adam Klug.
already screenshotted that bad boy for sure.
Yeah, can't get that past anyone.
Let's get to break. On the other side, Mike Ferrin does a great job on MLB Network Radio. We're going to have him on to talk a little bit about this deadline. He does, like I said, he does a great job on the Power Alley. He joins us next here on Gwynn and Chris.
Dylan Cease to the mound tonight. He has 3 wins. So does the guy facing him, Frankie Montas of the Mets, has 3 wins as well. We got the game coming up at 6:40. Sam Levitt's pregame show follows our program. Gwynn and Chris here on 97.3 The Fan. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park. And the baseball trade deadline, we are getting fired up for it all. I think the fans are getting upset, Tony. They think the Padres should have already made a couple of trades by now. They're getting impatient, but we will all, in AJ, we have to trust this week, folks. And
AJ, you should trust.
Yeah, I would think.
I think at this point, I think he's earned that much. I also think that, a good thing it takes time for these good deals to come together. I mean, if it was like a guy who was going to be filling out an extra spot on the roster, might be a deal that could have been done. But certainly, with the way things, so many teams in it and so many teams searching, I can imagine some of these bigger deals are going to take some time.
Yep, all in good time, people.
And mainly because the teams who have the players are going to want to flush out the best deal possible. They want to in order to move.
Sure. Yeah. The fans' coverage of the MLB trade deadline brought to you by Palomar Health, champions of healthcare, champions for you. And after all of that, we are joined by Mike Ferrin, MLB Network Radio's Power Alley. Mike, we really appreciate you taking some time. I know it's a busy week for everybody, talking to the Padre fans out here in San Diego. How are you today, sir?
I'm great, guys. It's great to be with you.
Thanks so much for being with us. And all right, so the Padres haven't done anything yet. Should the panic fans be going into panic mode, Mike, or can you calm them down a little bit?
No, I think you guys both hit on it. I mean, I think it's the nature of deadlines, right? Like nobody files their taxes on March 5th, right? They file at 11:55 on April 14th, right? Like that's or April 15th. Like that's what it is deadlines force the decisions. It is frustrating for fans. It is frustrating for broadcasters who cover the sport. It is, I would guess, for an aggressive general manager like AJ Preller, frustrating for him because he'd like to get something done. But, listen, I think things are going to start to pick up after today. I talked to a scout this weekend who was like, I think today is an off day in the minor leagues, right? Every Monday is. And I think it's the time where you start to see teams get serious on who wants what. And I think just about all the scouting is done that needs to be done for players. There'll probably be some last looks that come over the course of the next 72 hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, really it's a 48-hour span. But I think generally speaking, this is when it's going to start getting down to brass tacks for all of these teams. And you're going to start seeing some more significant movement here, probably in the next 24 hours or so.
Mike Ferrin joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. You can catch him and Jim Duquette on Power Alley MLB Network Radio. He does a terrific job. I've gotten a chance to get to know Mike over the last few years. And Mike, who is the one guy or one team that you're paying most attention to as we start getting into this final week of the deadline? Because it certainly seems like there are a bunch of teams that are in this thing and that are looking to be buyers in that case. Is there one team or one player you're looking at with a lot of focus right now?
Well, I'll give you this, Tony. I've got, I think, a front row seat to one of the most fascinating spots on the docket right now, which is I'm filling in doing Diamondbacks play-by-play and in Detroit, where the Tigers have seen things kind of fall apart in the last 2 weeks. They had a 14-game lead in the division on July 8th. They have lost 13 of their last 15 games. That lead is down to 8. And they are in need of multiple things. They just placed Reese Olson on the 60-day IL today, who is one of their top starting pitchers. They backfilled that by trading for Chris Paddock, who's really struggled for Minnesota. And so, they are trying to figure it out. They also need offense. The offense has disappeared in the month of July. They reportedly have some interest in Eugenio Suarez, who is in the middle of the Diamondbacks lineup. And, this Diamondbacks team is trying to do everything they can to keep selling at bay. Now with a 1-5 week last week against Houston and dropping 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh, they probably are going to move more of their pending free agents. They've already traded Josh Naylor. They traded Randall Grichuk and Eugenio Suarez, Merrill Kelly, maybe Zach Gallen. All could be on the move this week. So I think this is really interesting to watch both of these teams because, listen, I think even if the Diamondbacks do make those deals, as you've seen, they're a pretty talented offensive team. They seem to have players that everybody wants, which means their returns should be, especially for Suarez, probably better than you would normally see for a rental bat.
Yeah.
At least that's the feel right now, and we'll see what happens when they decide to pull the trigger on him. But and I think with Detroit, like this is now, right? Like this has been the story of the first half. Like they can't go with half measures, and they're not going to trade their top two prospects probably in Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark, but they should have other guys that they make available because this is the chance for them to win right now. Prove that the first half of this season wasn't a fluke.
Mike Ferrin, MLB Network Radio's Power Alley, joining us here, talking a little trade deadline. Of course, Thursday is the big day. We'll all start it off with our Padre Roundtable, by the way, that morning from 10 to 11 and right on through Braden's show and our show in the afternoon. You won't miss any of the trade info. Mike, let's take a look from the Padres' perspective a little bit. To me, I think when the name Dylan Cease first came up as maybe being trade dead, I was a little surprised. It seems like we've all kind of come to grips that that's something that's a possibility now. But even if that happens, you got to believe the Padres are buyers at this point. They are leading the wild card race. And I wonder if you're hearing anything at all about interest in Robert Suarez, because I think the Padres do have an incredible depth in the bullpen. And I don't know, maybe they don't even want to mess with it, but he is a free agent at the end of the year. It seems like they could get a lot in areas they need. Are you hearing his name at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think there is definitely interest in Suarez, and I think he's going to be a guy that like if you were to pick between Suarez and Cease, and you were to say one of these guys was definitely going to move, I would say Suarez is the better bet because of what you said, the depth of the bullpen. I mean, there's 3 all-stars in the bullpen, right? So they are in pretty good shape. Now, you're weakening a great strength of this team if you do it, but if you're able to fill other needs, it certainly would make sense. I think the only way Cease happens is if there was it would have to be very complicated, right? You're trading Cease for something that you need. Maybe it's part of a 3-team deal, or maybe it's, you're able to backfill in a couple spots by getting starting pitchers that you can control beyond this year and probably next. And that's really difficult to do. Now, if anybody can do it, we all know that AJ Feller doesn't sleep. So he's probably got the most hours available to him in a given day to be able to pull that off. But I think it's very complicated. And even then, like, I think my guess is their preference would be to use prospects to be able to acquire the needs that they have, as opposed to removing from the major league roster. You just don't see that very often for a contender. But yeah, if I had to guess, I think, Suarez's market would be fairly robust because he's got player options after this year. And as long as he stays healthy, he undoubtedly will decline those, but he's only owed 2/3 of $8 million. So I'm not very good at math, but that seems like under $3 million. And there's a lot of teams that can fit him in the budget.
Mike, how much does the kind of news of Emmanuel Clase probably being off the board now, given what he is kind of dealing with, does that intensify the market for a guy like Suarez, with Clase certainly having to deal with this situation in terms of the gambling?
Yeah, I think that there's a good chance. I mean, what I was most curious about, like, if in fact, Clase was going to be available, and I think there was a good chance, it sounded like this was going to be the deadline that Cleveland moved him. If that was the case, then he was going to have a pretty big return. Well, now there's one less closer that's available, right, on the market. And so now you're limited to, Ryan Helsley and David Bednar, who I just saw this weekend and looked fantastic. Former Padre, really throw the ball well. I think it's 25 straight scoreless outings for him now. And you've got control of him for another year. And then Suarez. Suarez is the cheapest in terms of dollars, at least the pending free agents in that. Bednar, you get to keep for another year. So
right.
I think that's all part of the equation. Closers tend to get you, especially bona fide ones, and Suarez is certainly that, tend to get you healthy returns at the deadline. So if they do decide to move him, I think they will do quite well. But again, I'm very skeptical. Like they would have to be blown away by offers to trade somebody off the major league roster. I just think they want to fill those holes in other ways possible. And even if you're able to find more depth pieces, let's say it's 5 guys to fill 3 spots, that probably makes more sense just in terms of being able to add some depth. I know they love impact there, but at some point you've just got to look at the roster and say we need more options from Mike Shildt to deploy.
Yeah, by the way, if you're just tuning in out there and you heard Clase and gambling and you're thinking, what happened? There is a bit of a probe underway. Baseball is looking into some possibilities with Emmanuel Clase. Tony and I will talk about it when we get a chance a little bit later on, but he is right now on administrative leave, which is what Tony and Mike are talking about there, that could open up room for another closer to be dealt. The other thing, Mike, with the trade deadline, and now more than ever, there just seems like there's a lot of misinformation, right? And we have to try to sort through it and try to figure out what's what. I saw one the other day that said that the Boston Red Sox immediately turned down an offer of Dylan Cease and the great prospect Ethan Salas for Jarren Duran. And the word immediately is what kind of caught my mind. Like, really, you wouldn't even think about that trade, huh? So I don't know what's true, what's not true. But is Jarren Duran the answer for somebody if that's the route the Padres choose to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's certainly a guy that the Padres are pursuing. And I think that reporter in that case was Sean McAdam, who has a pretty good reputation in Boston. So, you know, I do think, like, I can look at it from Boston's standpoint and say, hey, listen, we've got 3 years of control and a guy who was an all-star a year ago, had a rough first half, but is a really important guy in our room, and we would be trading him for 2 months of a starting pitcher and a catcher who's currently out with a back issue, and while he's an enticing prospect, still hasn't hit well in the minor leagues. I can see why Boston would dismiss it out of hand, too. So, and I also think that A.J. Preller is one of those guys that, I don't know if you read the Athletic piece today on executives and how they go about it, but he was compared by one executive to a fisherman, and that he's got 1,000 lines in the water while he's sitting in the middle of a boat in the middle of a lake. And I love that analogy because AJ will, like, text people and come up with ideas, and he loves to be active in that regard. So, you know, I think in that case, it makes sense. Listen, I think if Jarren Duran is available, and it doesn't sound like Boston is motivated to move him, they need first base help, you know, and pitching like everybody else does. But if they were to discuss Duran, he is the kind of guy that a team like San Diego would certainly benefit from. He would be a catalyst to the top of that lineup. He would be a real offensive force, I think. I think fans would gravitate towards his energy. You know, that the way that ballpark is packed, I mean, every night it looks like there are people like literally hanging from the rafters or like dangling from the balconies of the Western Metal Supply building. Like, I just get the sense that Duran would be somebody that could electrify that crowd to another level. I love the idea that I just am really skeptical that they would make a move as Boston at all. And if they did, it's more likely they would do it in the winter when there are probably more teams that would be focused on him, as opposed to, it's not just like a buyer needs to look at him now, but I think you get a better sense of where your roster sits in the winter. And if you're a team that might not be looking to add at this deadline, you might have interest in more in the winter than you would right now.
Host of MLB Network's Radio's Power Alley, Mike Ferrin, joins us, one of the most knowledgeable people you'll ever come across. Mike, you mentioned Padre prospects and them probably wanting to go that route in terms of addressing some of the needs that they have on this roster. I think many Padre fans are familiar with DeVries. They're familiar with Ethan. Who are some of the other names that some of these other teams may covet in a deal with the Padres to address some of those needs that they have?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Tony, because I think, you know, generally speaking, I would think certainly Leo DeVries is off limits. Braden Nett is a guy that has people fairly excited. He's a double-A pitcher in San Antonio. You know, he was a guy that they signed out of the draft leagues. He was a really intriguing guy. They have some pitching kind of at the A-ball level. Cash Mayfield was a pretty prominent prep player in the state of Oklahoma. I think he was a 2-time Gatorade Player of the Year there. You know, I think Henry Baez is a name that I think you're going to see, you know, jump up lists here. I think Ryan Bergert is a guy that probably would be interesting to teams looking for somebody who had a chance to start in the big league. So I think a lot of that focus would kind of come in that pitching in the next group. And listen, it's not as deep as it was a year ago when he made all of those trades with prospects. We joked that AJ had prospects burning a hole in his pocket, right? Like, he was ready to go. But there's going to be people that are interested for sure. And, The other thing I wouldn't discount is trying to put together some sort of 3-team package, because he's creative enough to do that, where you're acquiring prospects that you either are using to flip as part of a deal or to backfill some of the moves that you make. Like, that to me is one of the intriguing things. If you don't have enough prospects to make a deal, do you have someone you can trade off your major league roster to get those guys? I mean, again, like, I put the odds very low that they're trading off their major league roster, but if they do, that would be something I would keep an eye on as well.
Mike, we really appreciate the time. Couple seconds left here. I just wanted to get your thoughts, not trade deadline wise, but just on the Padres in general. Are you bullish on this team? Are you not sure about this team? I think that's where most of us fall. Can they make a move, or is this trade deadline crucial to them to get the right piece to be able to really be serious about something?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important, just because the offense has been so inconsistent, you know, and really not as good over the last, 8 weeks. And it's just a different offense than they had a year ago. They don't have as many guys that help to move the line. There's a little bit more chase. There's a little bit more aggressiveness. So I think those things absolutely factor into it. I don't know that it needs to be the biggest move. I know that that's the way AJ's wired, but I think getting some guys that can create traffic on the bases and make good swing decisions. Some of those guys aren't always expensive, but getting them into the lineup can really help in trying to create more consistency. Because I think, one thing, and I think Tony and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Mike Schilt in the second half, like, that so far has been a really real thing. His teams after the All-Star break for his career have won at 103 win pace. Like, that's what their winning percentage is. So you improve a little bit and know that the manager's coming to get the opponents. Like, I do think that there's something to that with Schilt, because it's happened like every single year of his career.
Yeah.
Our fingers are crossed that holds up. And Mike, thanks for the time. Really enjoyed chatting with you, and hope to do it again. If you need anything on our end, let us know. But we appreciate you giving us all a little update here in San Diego.
Thank you, Mike.
We'll do it. And just know that Tony's buying the next time we're out to dinner. So that's exactly what I got.
Wait a minute. That would be the first time if that happens, Mike. But okay, good luck on that. Let us know how that
Swing
works.
was so short. It's because his arms are. That's why.
So deep pockets, as they say, short arms. Mike
I
Ferrin.
appreciate you, Mike. Thank
Love
you, brother.
T. Talk to you later. Bye.
There he goes. Mike Ferrin getting the shot in.
For the record, my arms are not short when it comes to paying.
I would not agree with that comment, Tony. You're always very, very, very giving in that category. But hey, good stuff from Mike there. And, I don't think there's any doubt, Tony, that the trade deadline, these next 4 days, are going to be crucial. Because I've said it many times, I don't think the Padres can get where they want to go with what they have. They could get close, but I don't know that they could get all the way there. So I think the right move is going to be important.
The point that he hit on at the end, I think, is one of the more important points, because that's why the offense does look different. Last year, this was as disciplined as a team in terms of the zone and what they swung at, what they didn't swing at. And don't get me wrong, that was a really tough offense to deal with. But it's also a tough offense to create if you don't have the right guys in your lineup. And I think he kind of hit on it. Some of the guys that control the strike zone and can put those type of at-bats consistently together are a little bit cheaper. They're not the slug guys of the world. And so are there some of those guys out there? You've heard Stephen Kwan's name mentioned a lot. Now, I checked. He's in the lineup today, so he might not be going anywhere as of yet. 3:40 start time. He's still in the lineup. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a number of different ways A.J. Preller can go to address some of the needs on this team. What does it look like, at the end of the day? I don't think we know yet, but I feel pretty confident something's going to happen.
It's going to be an exciting time for sure. And just to, I think to underscore what Mike said there, Padres top 4 hitters in the order, 280 batting average coming into the game yesterday. That's the best in baseball. So the top 4, even though we think, boy, they should do more, they're already doing a lot, but they haven't had the depth in the lineup that they've had in the past. All right. Good job there, Mike Ferrin. Appreciate that. And we'll come back. We got more Hall of Fame inductions were this weekend. One of Tony's great friends went in. Try to get some thoughts on that when we return here on Gwynn and Chris.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not used to complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not used to complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
Matt Scraby. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by U.S. Wellness Meats. The top 10 must-haves for grilling season. 1, meat. 2, meat. 3, lots of meat. Well, you get the picture.
Give me some of that meat.
Grill the best tasting meats on the planet from uswellnessmeats.com. New customers receive 20% off and will deliver right to your doorstep for free. Hot stove continues to heat up here. Milwaukee Brewers are working on finalizing a deal to acquire Danny Jansen from the Tampa Bay Rays, a catcher for the Tampa Bay Rays. So Milwaukee making some of those smaller moves.
Yeah.
Well, remember, they have Wilson's brother on that team.
William Contreras.
They're William Contreras as their starting catcher. So not sure where Danny's going to play, if he's going to DH or just another option, but teams are, starting to make them little moves here.
He's got 11. Jansen has 11 home runs. Adam Klug pointed out to me, which is more than our two catchers have combined. I know, Adam. I get it.
I didn't say that. I just said a potential catching
I'm saying
target
that, and I'm
they
blaming.
Might be interested.
I'm
in.
saying that, and I'm blaming you. That's all. Tony, I got to congratulate you, man. To have one of your best friends in baseball go into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. CC Sabathia is in, and I'm sure you took a little pride in that and smiled and just enjoy. I don't know if you got a chance to see it all. You're working and traveling, but what a great career he had. And I know, a lot of the focus is on Ichiro, and I get that, but CC Sabathia, and I'm sure you know this, but I did not know this. He is the number 12 on the all-time list for wins by a left-handed pitcher.
Yeah.
But he's right-handed.
Yeah.
CC Sabathia. He uses his right hand to sign autographs.
Oh my Lord. I was like, dude, I know I have not been out of my mind all these years. I'm sure he throws from the left-hand side.
No,
yeah,
he totally throws left-handed,
right.
But he's right-handed. This is the craziest thing, and I did not know that. And he said he played 1 year of T-ball right-handed, and he said it was a disaster. So he said his dad changed him over, gave him a lefty glove, and he says, my right hand is my dominant hand. This is in New Yorker magazine. CC Sabathia.
What you got? Adam, you look like you got something, man.
Are you trying to tell me it's not true?
No, I'm not trying to say it's not true, but I think a lot of people who are left-handed actually write with their right hand. And Chris is saying this in jest. There's Tony's raising his hand for those not watching YouTube. I learned last night. Did you hear the story about Billy Wagner, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame?
No,
I did. Right-handed thrower.
Oh, he's right-handed also.
Natural righty. His arm.
Right-handed thrower.
Broke his right arm twice before the age of 7 and learned to throw lefty. Went on to make the major leagues and make the Hall of Fame.
So both of them are right-handed then.
I saw the coolest picture of CC yesterday. He took a picture with Randy Johnson on his left and Sandy Koufax on his right. And it was like small, medium, large, and CC was the medium guy. That's how big Randy is.
Yeah.
But to your point, man, that no disrespect to Ichiro, but I was tuned in for CC.
Yeah, sure.
I only got to play with CC this is the type of dude he is. I only got to play with CC for 2 months, and it feels like I was his teammate for like 12 years. And that's the type of character that he brings to any team. His ability to he came into Milwaukee, and you would have thought that he had been in Milwaukee his entire career. He was literally there for 2 months, but his impact on that team and on a lot of us in that clubhouse is I would bet he probably had the biggest group of non-family members there to watch, that flew in, former players that flew in to watch that ceremony. I know Prince was there. I know Dexter Fowler was there. I know there were a bunch of his teammates that made the trip because he was going in. And yeah, man, and his speech I thought was the best of all of them. Ichiro's was funny for sure. But in terms of CC and his speech he put down, man, I just yeah, man, that one meant a little bit more than some of the other ones that I've seen for sure.
For sure. And by the way, every team over the next 3 days will be trying to duplicate what the Brewers did in 2008 when they traded for CC Sabathia. It is probably the greatest any player has ever performed in just 2 months being with one team for that short a time.
It's either him or Carlos Beltran as the two greatest deadline moves.
It was incredible what he did.
My man CC threw every third day. I'm not exaggerating. It felt like the last month and a half of the season, we needed a win. He was pitching. It was nuts.
He started 17 games after coming over to the Brewers in 2008 at the deadline. He went 11-2. He had 7 complete games. He had 3 shutouts and a 1.65 ERA for you, Tony. That's all.
Yeah.
And basically took them to the playoffs by himself. Not by himself, but he led the way. Led the way.
And we rode him until the wheels fall. I think he ran out of gas in that Philly series.
Yeah.
I think Victorino got him on a homer that kind of changed the course of the rest of that series, but we don't get there without him, man. It was an unbelievable thing to be a part of, for sure.
Yeah, so congrats to him and also Ichiro, who I always heard.
Ichiro, Dick Allen, Dave Parker,
Billy Wagner.
Who we met?
Billy.
And Billy Wagner.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, the thing with Ichiro, I've heard this a million times, and it was confirmed yesterday, is that he's pretty comfortable speaking English. He just didn't want to really tell anybody all of that, or he didn't want to let everybody in on it when he played. So he was hesitant to do interviews in English, but he did a speech in English yesterday. So it's coming around.
I thought his line about the open invitation to the one writer that left him off was now closed.
That's right.
He was no longer offering it.
Yeah,
I thought that was great.
Not going to let that guy in. And, Billy Wagner, Adam told that story. So, I mean, and I was lucky enough to interview this guy one time in the middle of his career, just in some crazy Saturday afternoon radio interview. Thought he was the nicest guy, one of the nicest guys I ever talked to, Billy Wagner. I don't know if you got to know him, Tony, but he was.
I think I've told this story about Billy Wagner and my dad before. I think I've told this on air.
Go for it again, because I don't remember it.
I think it was around 98, 99, somewhere around 97, 98, 99. And, my dad always took early batting practice. He very rarely at home took regular batting practice with the rest of the guys. So he was out there early. And Billy Wagner was kind of stalking, like, behind the cage. Like, he was just kind of walking back and forth, which wasn't unusual because a lot of guys at that time used to come out and they used to run their polls. And so that's what I kind of thought he was doing. Lo and behold, my dad finishes his round and Billy Wagner walks up to him and he's like, Tony, can I ask you a question? I saw that you said, I think this was either written in in the USA Today or one of the newspapers. The question was asked to my dad, who did he feel like he had the easiest time, having an at bat against?
Uh-oh.
And he said Billy Wagner. He didn't mean anything by it. He just, that was who, he felt most comfortable in. And, and so I guess Billy read it or heard about it and took offense to it. And so he walked up to my dad and he was like, what was that all about? My dad was like, it wasn't about anything. The guy asked me a question. I just gave him an honest answer. Nothing more, nothing less.
That was the end of it?
No, Billy Wagner goes, he says, oh, okay. I'm glad I came over and asked you about it because I was just going to drill you in the ribs when you came up to the plate. And I don't know that my dad knew how to take it. He just kind of looked at him like, damn, that's what you were going to do. Like, he didn't say anything, and they were just kind of like, oh, all right. And they kind of moved on, and that was the end of it.
I guess your dad's answer was enough to appease him and to avoid getting
once
one of
he
these
figured
solar
out that
plexus.
he didn't mean anything by it. He was just, answering the question. It was like, oh, all right, I guess I should probably drill you in the ribs with 99.
Yeah, that would have hurt. Billy Wagner could throw hard despite being a right-handed. He had 422 saves, which is 8th most in baseball history. The other two guys going in, we mentioned their names, Tony, but Dave Parker and Dick Allen. I wish there was a way. I can't do it, but I wish there was a way guys didn't have to ever go in posthumously. I wish that, the baseball writers, to me, should have recognized at least Dave Parker right away. I don't know why that took time. Dick Allen was a little bit more of a controversial figure, so maybe I get that one. But Dave Parker, man, he just was that good. I don't even see why he had to wait for the Veterans Committee, but I guess certain guys fall through the cracks. It's such a shame that he just passed recently and didn't get to enjoy the day yesterday. That part was a little sad.
My mom, who was in attendance with my oldest daughter, said his son did a terrific job with the speech. For those who haven't seen Dave Parker, his son looks almost identical to.
He went up there with a Parker uniform on, didn't he? And I thought it was Dave Parker resurrected for a minute.
He almost looks identical to Dave Parker. So it was a perfect touch. And Dick Allen's wife, his widow, did a wonderful job as well. And so, you always wish, especially in those two cases, that they could have enjoyed this before, passing away. But at least their families know that, they've been enshrined where they should be, which is in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that is
all right.
True.
Let's get to break. Get to break. I have to hop off. I will be back a little bit later, but I have to hop off to go listen to Mr. Shilton. I just finished watching Michael King throw his simulated game, and poor A-ballers getting carved up down here. So,
what do they line these A-ball kids up there?
Listen, that's
God.
the beauty of having Lake Elsinore be so close. These guys get the word, and they get a chance to face a big leaguer. But this big leaguer happens to be Michael King. So hopefully get an update on how Michael King felt down there. You'll get Chris and Adam when we return. More Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
3:18 is the time. Welcome back, Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello. Tony Gwynn Jr., as mentioned, down at Petco Park, getting ready to go down and listen to a little Mike Schilt. As he mentioned before he left, Michael King did throw that simulated game today. How Michael King feels after that, going to be really, really important. Really important to the Padres here moving forward. Great to have Michael King back by mid-August, if that's doable. Yu Darvish went down to the bullpen, according to Jeff Sanders of the Union Tribune. Darvish down there getting a little bullpen session in today, which means he likely will be given 1 day further to recover from his last start. Darvish, the rotation would have him going tomorrow. He's going to pitch Wednesday, is what folks are surmising right now. Good chance of Ryan Bergert gets recalled to start tomorrow's game. Tonight it's Dylan Cease. So there's a little bit of that kind of thing going on with the Padre rotation. Mets have won 7 in a row, and they put Frankie Montas on the mound tonight against Dylan Cease. Take a look at that game and look at something really fun that happened over the weekend in today's Daily Gambit.
Do you like money?
I think about money a lot.
Do you like money without doing anything?
Winning.
Do you want to make money while watching sports?
I think Washington is immortal luck.
Washington! Woohoo! If you answered yes, this is your segment. Just don't blame us when you lose.
Nothing is ever your fault.
It's your game. Take it.
Gwynn and Chris go through the top bets of the day in The Daily Gambit on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, Daily Gambit. Got some games we can take a look at tonight. But before we get to that, I don't know if you remember Friday, before we got out of here, told you that I was going up to Del Mar. Adam, remember that? My buddy, Mike Golovko, and my other friend, Terry Scanlon, they are minority owners of a horse up there. The horse is named Almond Joy, and it was running Friday afternoon in the stakes race. I told you I was going to go up and be in the winner's circle if they won. They won. Blowout victory for Almond Joy. Paid $760 for the rest of you out there. 5-2 odds, not bad. I thought it was going to be more. It actually was the morning line favorite. But congrats to those guys. It was their 4th win in a row on this horse. And I got to tell you, Adam, I don't have a stake in the horse at all. I didn't even bet on the horse. I was just standing with Mike and the other owners and the trainer watching the race. And when this horse broke into the clear, it's about the most exciting thing I've ever seen.
It was
unbelievable.
I was going to ask if you padded your pockets at all.
No, I didn't. I told you I wasn't going to bet on it. I didn't want to. I felt like I would jinx it if I bet on the horse.
Change.
I know. I felt like I would jinx it if I bet on it, so I didn't. But man, what a performance, man. It was so exciting. And then the next day, the UT, Mike's wife, Mindy, got her picture in the paper talking to Kent DeSormo after the race. Anyway, it was kind of fun. So keep an eye on that horse, Almond Joy. It's not spelled like the candy bar, by the way. It's O-M, then the letter N, and then the word joy, and joy. But this is a pretty good little horse. She's won 4 straight, 3 stakes races in a row. Anyway, that was cool. Tonight, Padres are 1.5 run favorites over the Mets. The Mets have won 7 in a row. I think you got it. I don't ever like to bet against the Padres, but I would pick the Mets here. Just take the run at least. After all, the Padres win most games by 1 run anyway. Yesterday, Padres won in a blowout. That's kind of the rarity for the Padres. I'll take the Mets plus 1.5 runs. 8 runs over under tonight. Still waiting for Dylan Cease to just light it up for 7 innings. Got to get through the first inning, though, in like less than 30 pitches. Last game against the Marlins, I knew he was going to be out after 5 innings because of the first inning. Dylan Cease got to be more economical I'll still say under and hope that he comes through with a big performance tonight. Dodgers and Reds. Who do you root for? Adam, you're a good fan.
That's not a real question, is it?
Yeah, it is. Dodgers are ahead of the Padres. We're trying to catch the Dodgers.
We root for the Reds.
You do? The Reds are one game behind the Padres for the wild card.
Never root for the Dodgers. Root for the Padres to handle their business.
Wow. If the Reds lose and the Padres win, now you're 2 games into the wild card.
And how many games are the Padres behind the Dodgers?
5.
Okay, so if the Reds win, that also helps the Padres. We don't root for the Dodgers. No Dodger loving.
I'll take the Dodgers here. I think I'd love to see them beat the Reds and give the Padres a little breathing room. I don't know. I guess I'm looking at it differently than you are. Probably everybody else is angry with me right now. Yamamoto or Cease, different games. Who gets more strikeouts? You know, Cease is still getting a lot of strikeouts, even though he's not pitching the way the results aren't Dylan Cease-like. He's still getting a lot of Ks. I'll go with Cease tonight. Here's a question for you. What is the response going to be for Juan Soto tonight? Adam, what do you think? I mean, I know I personally am not a Juan Soto fan.
I know.
Do enough people share that so that he gets booed here, or does he get cheered at all?
I know what the response should be.
What do you think it should be?
He should be cheered.
He should be cheered, you say?
He had a massive season for the Padres. They went to the NLCS.
Okay.
We got 1.5 years and then traded him for a huge haul.
Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying.
What am I missing?
I think you're missing the fact that a lot of people feel like Juan Soto was a bit of a fly in the ointment the next year. And that is what we remember more than his contributions.
About the next year when he was with the Yankees, or are you talking about his full
second
season?
year here when the team fell apart down the stretch and didn't make it.
Let me just remind people what he did in that one full season
in
with the
that
Padres.
ointment-filled year. Yes. What
Played
was
all 162 games.
Okay.
He had an OPS of 930. He had 35 home runs, 109 RBIs, 97 runs.
How many buses was he late for?
Is there a stat for that?
There is in my mind. I don't love Juan Soto.
5.5 WAR season.
Yeah, no, statistically, Juan Soto's always good. I'm just not a fan of some of the other things that go along with the diva-like nature of Juan Soto.
Okay.
Kind of bothers me.
Okay.
That's me. I don't know. Will the fans pick me up tonight and boo him, or will the fans agree with you and cheer him? I think they're going to boo him.
I think they are too.
Okay.
I said what they should do.
I know. Okay. I think he's going to get some boos. I'll also take Manny to have more total bases than him in tonight's matchup. Although Soto doesn't. You don't get a total base for a walk. So I like Manny here. He's got 5 straight games of 2 or more hits. New York Liberty are 8-point favorites at Dallas tonight. I noticed the Dallas Wings last night rested Paige Beckers. What is she, 20 years old? 22? How worn out is she?
Load management in the WNBA now?
Everywhere. It's the thing. You got to have load management now. I'm like, come on, Paige Beckers is 22 years old. She should be able to run forever. 23. She's back tonight, so I'll take
what my pet peeve is with
Dallas plus the 8, even though they're not a very good team.
You know what my pet peeve is with the whole discussion around load management?
Okay, what?
People only seem to make a big deal about it in basketball. There's more games in baseball than there is in basketball, right? Manny Machado gets a day off here and there. Is anybody complaining about load management or these tired arguments about, well, there's a family somewhere who only buys tickets to one game and they choose to go to this game and they don't get to see Kawhi Leonard?
You think that's a tired argument?
But
no, I think it's a fair argument.
But then why don't you apply the same rules or arguments to baseball when Manny Machado sits out a game?
I don't have good answers.
Oh, okay.
You stuck me on that one.
Okay.
By the way, the Sparks Cameron Brink is back in the lineup from a torn ACL tonight. I know there are many fans of hers out there. One more bet tonight. I'll get your pick on this one, Adam, just for fun. Dick Mountain is on the mound again tonight for the Royals against your Braves in Kansas City. His over-under is 4 2/3 innings. Do you think he can get 5 innings against your club? the old venerable lefty.
I'm surprised he can throw a ball while he's holding a walking cane.
Oh, that was cold, Adam Klug.
Rich Hill, for those who don't know.
You're saying under?
Sure.
He's not the
not
oldest,
a big swing and miss guy as it is.
Not anymore. He's not the oldest pitcher ever, or player ever. I think Juan Franco, or was it Juan or Julio Franco, played at like 49 years old.
Jamie Moyer, I believe. He did.
Jamie Moyer
48,
also.
I believe.
Yeah, Rich Hill's the ripe young age of 45. All right. We'll take a break. More Gwynn and Chris coming up. We've got, look, I told you earlier about this whole thing with the gambling situation, and Emmanuel Clase, the All-Star, has been taken out of play while baseball investigates. Tony's going to rejoin us. We'll talk about that. Also, Bryce Harper and the commissioner nearly go to blows. Huh? Yeah, stick around. It's coming up on Gwynn and Chris.
Coming up on Tuesday's show, Padres.
word, but they're looking into some irregularities in some of the betting surrounding Clase and his pitching with the Guardians. Now, apparently it has to do – there's a bet that I didn't even know really existed, but I know that, you hardcore gamblers know this stuff.
By the way, the other guy is Luis L. Ortiz.
Right, yes, also the Guardians. Thank you. And so he's already on leave, Ortiz is, and now Clase joins him on leave. And what this comes down to is apparently you can gamble on whether or not the very first pitch of a bat is going to be a strike or a ball. I did not realize gambling had degenerated that much, but apparently it has. So you can bet on whether there's a strike or a ball, and somebody, there's basically a company out there that keeps an eye on this kind of betting irregularities, and they can notice stuff. And evidently, they've noticed some stuff going on with Clase throwing too many pitches way out of the strike zone to start off hitters. And I saw somebody even tweet out the fact that he's thrown 22 balls this year to first batters of innings, and 11 of them have been nowhere near the strike zone. So maybe that backs up some of this. I don't know. But what I want to get into, because they're going to have to do this investigation, they have to find out if Clase is involved in this, if anything's going wrong, etc. The thing that bugs me, Tony, is that Rob Manfred's comment about this is, well, I still support gambling and legalized gambling because of the transparency it provides us. And I just wonder when Rob Manfred is going to ever have the guts to be honest enough to say that gambling, as we like to say, Tony, is the one thing that can take his sport down if he's not careful.
Yeah, I have a lot to say on this, and you and I have been talking about this for a while. We saw this coming in terms of you're going to be dealing with this. But here's the thing, though, and this is starting to be I think the kind of side story, because very rarely are we talking about the cats that are accused and then like nothing happens because it's found that they did nothing. Do you remember Terry Rozier? Remember that whole deal with him?
Basketball guy, right?
Basketball guy. You remember that? They kind of went away. We didn't hear anything about it. You know why?
Right.
Because it ended up not being anything. And with a bet like this in particular, this is also the same bet that got Luis L. Ortiz in trouble. He's a starter. So at least you can wrap your mind around the fact that starters are usually somewhere around the plate. How often have we seen Robert Suarez come out of the bullpen, first 2-3 pitches, nowhere near the zone? That happens all the time. But
takes you a minute to get used to the mound, the surroundings.
No doubt. No doubt. And I'm not sitting there saying that these guys are guilty or innocent, but I'm just saying just by merely having these type of prop bets is going to be opening these investigations on a lot of guys that I think ultimately will be found not guilty of doing, or either that or not able to prove that they did anything. And so now you're dealing with reputations being kind of sullied because of the thought that you might have gambled or cheated or whatever it is as it pertains to these bets. And it's just another window that opens up by having it in the abundance that we have it in sports now.
You know what's interesting, Tony, is you're bringing up a great point that I honestly hadn't even thought of. My whole argument and anger here stems from the fact that baseball keeps getting in bed with FanDuel and Bet, MGM or whatever all these are, and I don't even name them all, but they're all over the place. You see the odds come up on quick pitch. You see the odds come up during games. You see them before and after games, and we talk about it. Everybody's talking gambling. And then baseball says, but we don't want anybody to gamble. That it's the hypocrisy of that gets me. But I think you're bringing up a whole, more important thing here. The company that is in charge of deciding whether there's an irregularity now basically has the power to make Emmanuel Clase and anybody else look really bad if they're wrong. Because this is a guy that finished third in the Cy Young last year. He's been one of the best relievers in baseball. And now you're right, Tony. His name's sullied no matter what. Even if they come out in a month and go, we didn't find anything, it's still kind of attached to this now. And who knows if there's any proof of any of this being, true or not.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, it's very easy to point to was the guy who got suspended for from basketball for life, or Tucapita. It's easy to point to those guys because they all got. But Terry Rozier, everybody's thinking of him as a guy who was point shaving at one point. Nothing really got said until I kind of saw it kind of pop up on my phone the other day that turned out to be nothing. We heard about the Luis L. Ortiz thing. How long ago? That seemed to be like the beginning of the season almost.
Doesn't seem like they've come up with anything yet.
And we still haven't heard anything on that. And so, I think that the gambling thing in general really complicates, especially because they keep coming up with more creative ways to place bets.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, first pitch of a game, ball or strike. What if a pitcher has a stretch of, 10 straight outings where he just can't find the zone
on his first pitch?
Is that going to raise a red flag for the companies that are looking, depending on who's betting on what?
I don't know. They're going to start betting on what color shoes these guys wear, and then you can make a claim that a guy's getting word that he should wear a different color shoe.
He's getting shoes ordered a certain color so he can cash these bets out. Like it's going to become more and more complicated, I think, as we keep going further down the line.
Yeah. Well, again, we brought it up a ton, and the gambling issue continues to, quietly hang over the head of baseball. And I just hope that it never gets beyond the point it is.
I hope the bubble never bursts. Right.
That's right, Tony. That's the scary one. Now here's another one that Rob Manfred is in the middle of them. And this one almost cost him like 2 black eyes and who knows what else. But apparently he goes around to all 30 teams every year, and he has a little State of the Union address to the clubhouse. And that's a good thing, I think the commissioners are doing, to keep the players and the rank and file kind of, tuned into what's happening. But on this particular case, he's talking to the Phillies. And one of the guys sitting there, I love the story too. The guy who was sitting there was holding a bat in his hand, listening to the commissioner. The guy holding the bat in his hand was none other than Bryce Harper. And the commissioner was going on and on and on. And Bryce Harper was sitting there quietly paying attention. And then the commissioner hit on what Bryce Harper deemed to think was that maybe in the next collective bargaining agreement, it might be a good idea for the players to start considering giving into a salary cap. And the word salary cap apparently served as like a bell to Pavlov's dog, because Bryce Harper shot out of his seat, got in the face, and there's witnesses, Nick Castellanos and others, who said this is exactly what happened. Got right into the face of Manfred and said, get the, what, out of this clubhouse if you're going to say that. And it was, I guess it got pretty testy. Look, Bryce Harper has not, commented on this yet, other than, Manfred hasn't really commented on this, other than to everybody saying this did happen. Nothing further apparently happened. But the whole thing to me is, who really has the power here? Is it Bryce Harper, or would the commissioner ever be able to have the power to get done what he says he thinks maybe they should do, Tony?
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Right. Yeah.
And this is how, players have felt going back beyond my dad.
Right.
This is what they went on strike for in 1994. And, I think when you watch the media today, you may not know that. You hear so much talk of salary caps, and it's in, it's basically in 2 of the 3 major leagues that we have, right?
Right.
It's in football. There's some element of it in basketball. It's not a hard cap, but they got a soft one there. And, baseball, Major League Baseball players have always, fought against it. And in that article, I don't know if you saw it, but Bryce basically said, we're willing to shut this bad boy down 162 if that's what you're talking about.
Yes, he did.
And so he's already let it be known. And I think what has the players on edge as much as the salary cap thing is Commissioner Manfred has put together a group of former players, all kind of big name guys.
Okay.
That kind of go around and they work for the commissioner, but they are kind of like the liaison.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I think there is some suspicion on the player side for what this is all about, including these State of the Union. Like, all of a sudden, we're 2 years out from collective bargaining, and now you want to come have conversations with us? You want to tell us about the economics? And I think Castellanos had a great line. He said, are you trying to tell us that owning a baseball team is like owning a nail salon? Like, you need all these certain things to happen in order for – he's like, that you're not going to convince anybody of that in this locker room. And so I just think that, it has felt like, at least from the outside looking in, that this cap thing might have a possibility if you are only like kind of watching the media in it. But I think this is a clear sign that is not the case. And I think this is, if Manfred thought that he was making some headway with these State of the Union addresses,
Bryce Harper shot that down.
I think he might be feeling differently now.
I think Bryce Harper deserves, honestly, because, Tony, you and I, with all due respect to our owners here in town, because I think we have really been blessed with some great owners here around the Padres, especially the last several years. So let's get that out there. But in general, you and I are looking out for the players because, and we've detailed it a million times, the owners have more money than anyone on earth, practically. And they claim that they don't, and they do. So the fact that they can't control their spending should never be the player's fault, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure as you're concerned. And I got to give Bryce Harper credit here. Going back to Kurt Flood, going back to Catfish Hunter and Andy Messersmith, who were the first guys who got free agency, going back to whoever it was that stuck up for something they believed in, and your dad and all those guys that, went on strike in 94. Bryce Harper, by standing up and getting in the commissioner's face, struck a blow for all those guys.
Even if it was just theater, in the moment, to kind of show, listen, we not go. That's worth it in this moment. And I just think, the other thing that tends to happen when a cap is going to be a part of this is the owners have to open up their books. Like, you get to see everything, and they have never been willing to do that. So I don't even know that, even though Manfred wants it, how many of the owners are going to be like, all right, we'll show you everything we got. It's never been done on the baseball side before.
I would love, let me be a fly on the wall when Dick Monfort cracks open that book and we see how much money he's making over there without buying a single player. Just to finish it, Nick Castellanos said, quote, "It was pretty intense, definitely passionate. Both of them said the commissioner was giving it back to Bryce too, and Bryce giving it back to the commissioner." But yeah, this is pretty clear. I think Bryce Harper speaks for baseball. They're not going to ever take a salary cap. And if baseball has to have one, we could be in some trouble. At the end of next season, right? I mean, that's when all this is going to come to a head.
In the 26th season.
So enjoy the rest of the baseball this year while we can, everybody. We'll take a break. More Gwynn and Chris. We got a little Chris versus the Fans. Some trivia, chance for you to go to Las Vegas. Stick around, 833-288-0973. Come on back.
these things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some. Yes, don't adjust your clocks out there. We're a couple of minutes early for the top of the hour, but we welcome you to it anyway. Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports talk station, 97.3 The Fan. Crisello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park, where tonight the Padres host the Metropolitans. New York Mets come in with a 7-game win streak. Just swept the Giants over the weekend in San Francisco. Thank you very much. Now, if you wouldn't mind, lie down for the Padres. We need a little help there. Padres begin play 5 back of the Dodgers and 1 ahead of the Reds. For the wild card spot, and you're rooting for the Reds tonight.
Oh, easily, without a doubt. What I was going to say is, did you notice what our young colleague Frank Marchese was wearing today?
I did. I mean,
thoughts? He was, for those who didn't notice, on YouTube.
Yeah,
he's from New York. He's wearing
a Met
jersey.
fan, but I mean, I don't know that you wear the Met. I think you fire the guy on that.
I thought about it.
Did you? Good. Yeah. I mean, wearing a jersey and hat. I mean, look, if you're a fan, you're a fan. I don't expect you to change. But I don't know that
Doesn't mean you have to wear it in the studio.
Exactly. I don't know that was the right move. If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's, authentic Mediterranean cuisine, Coronado, La Jolla. Dining, takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. All right, we are going to come up on a little Chris versus the fans here. If you'd like to play, 833-288-0973. You win the game, and you qualify for the grand prize. 2-night stay at Park MGM Las Vegas, 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th, also a $100 gas card. Motley Crue's Las Vegas residency at Dolby Live, Park MGM, September 12th through October 3rd. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com, or you can win them here on Chris vs. the Fans. Before we get to that, though, I told you that Michael King threw a sim game. There was a very funny line that somebody sent me by text earlier this year after Yu Darvish threw like his 9th sim game. Somebody's like, Chris, what is his record in sim games? I'm like, yeah, I get your frustration. Speaking of Darvish, he's not going to pitch tomorrow. He's going to pitch Wednesday is the plan. But when will Michael King be back? Well, today was a big step toward that. At least that's what we all hope. Let's hear what Michael King had to say, or some of what he had to say, when he met with the media this afternoon just a short time ago.
How did everything go for you out there?
Great. Yeah, I gained a little bit of velo from the last one. Obviously, I went up in pitch count, and command was pretty good. I just going to kill Trent Brooks, that's all.
Where did, like you said, command was pretty good. Like, where did everything feel in, like, kind of relation to, like, what you would be expecting to get this 3 innings today?
Yeah, I mean, probably better than I would have thought. The adrenaline of like pitching at Petco is a little bit more than Arizona backfield. So I was happy with the command of everything. Shapes were good. But yeah, I felt like all pitches were commanded pretty well.
Why was it so, like, this was a pretty intense sim game. You had full 9 behind you. Like, Why was that setting so important to you in this stage?
I mean, it just becomes more game-like, you know. I still try to have fun out there, and I'm apologizing to Tyler Wade when I almost hit him. It's like those kinds of things I wouldn't do in an actual game. But seeing a ball get hit into the outfield and knowing I got a defense there, trying to pick somebody off, trying to make sure he doesn't steal. There's so many different things that go into a game that you're not typically used to when you're first building up. So I like that we're doing that. So I'm hopefully a little bit better at it when I return.
Do you think this sets you up for your next step?
Build pitch count. I'm always the type that wants to build as much as I possibly can. I was happy I was able to go 3 ups. Last one was 1 of 20. So I think I did 40 pitches today, but yeah, I mean, I would love to build as much as I possibly can, as quick as I possibly can. So that's going to be some conversations I have in the next couple of days.
Do you expect it to be another one of these, or do you think minor league rehab assignment?
No idea. I was asking that earlier, and they said let's just get through today. So those conversations will probably happen in the next 48 hours.
Yeah, I said after this would be good, and that's good. I think we're up to date. Michael King will know more. I think that what matters is not right after he throws. Honestly, what normally matters is how does he feel the next day, later today, how the arm recovers. But man, we could use Michael King back in the rotation for sure. Sim game today. One other quick note before we get to Chris versus the fans. How about the play that Jose Iglesias made yesterday? Where do you rank that on your all-time plays? I mean, it's in the discussion. Shortstop goes behind the bag out into short center field to track down a bouncing ball, and then with his momentum carrying him toward right field, throws the ball behind his back as he's running away from second base and bounces it in there to Jake Cronenworth, who makes a pretty alert play to go down and barehand it and get a force play. Jose Iglesias is smooth. Here's what he said about it.
Jose, that was quite the play behind the back. You practice that kind of thing?
You know what? Here and there, not something that you do on the regular basis, but you never know. And you know, it was a fun play to play.
Jose, obviously playing the Mets today, it was a team that you had such a big impact with clearly last season. What are your emotions as you get ready to play a lot of your friends over there?
I mean, it's going to be a great series. We're going to face a really good team. It's going to be like a playoff atmosphere. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see the guys, excited to compete against them. You know, all around it's fun. Good to see us, Stevie. And, you know, it's a dream come true, right? Be able to see those guys and go today up there and just hug them and say hello. It's a privilege.
Jose Iglesias was a huge part. I don't think we even realize how huge of a part of the Mets he was last year. You remember, Adam, at the end of the season, the end of the regular season, I went on too long of a vacation. Well, we're not bringing that up again. But I don't
remember.
I know you don't remember, but I did end up in New York. And when they got into the playoffs, and I mean, it was all Jose Iglesias. He was like the biggest star in New York City, which was really saying something. The whole OMG and his song, and he has brought that same thing to San Diego. He has been, you know, just fantastic defensively. And that play he made yesterday, if you haven't seen it, find it somewhere on YouTube. I'm sure you'll see it. Jose Iglesias backhand flip, whatever it is. This guy's got incredibly soft hands. He's not in the lineup tonight, though. Lineup is out. Fernando, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Bogarts, Sheets, and then Cronenworth, and then Bryce Johnson. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate it. Then Bryce Johnson in left field. Elias Diaz starts behind the plate tonight. Mets, Juan Soto bat third. So you have a couple of batters to decide whether or not you want to boo Juan Soto.
There's a lot of people in the chat just saying no reaction. Don't boo, don't cheer.
Neither.
Exist.
Just kind of make it a normal at bat.
Yeah.
Nah, I can't do it. Is there, you know,
you'll be leading the boos.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go to the game tomorrow, Adam, not tonight. But I know there's no cheering in the press box.
Right.
Is there booing in the press box?
You know,
never heard. Never really, you know, checked that out before. I think the Padres would frown on me standing up and just bellowing out a boo.
They probably wouldn't, but there's a long-standing tradition, and everyone knows it, even if you're not a member of the media.
Right.
It's don't cheer.
Don't
react.
I've never
don't
heard.
Cheer.
Yeah, never heard anything about booing.
I think you might be onto something.
Might try it tomorrow night. All right, let's get to some Chris versus the fans. We got some contestants ready to go.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
Adam Klug will give you the rules because I think he's got them over there. If you don't, we can just try to do our best.
I'm just curious. I do have the rules, but I also have listened enough. I know them off the top of my head. Do you know them?
You would think I should know them, right? You get 3 questions.
There you go.
To get more difficult?
Yes.
As you go along, if you get the question right, you move on to the next question. But if you get it wrong and Chris gets it right, then you are eliminated. But if you get to the final question and you either get it right or I get it wrong, you win. Something like that. First-time players, please let us know. Or better yet, if you are a first-time player, let us know, and you'll get the first question for free. And we already told you got the chance to qualify for the Las Vegas trip. So, by the way, I didn't even ask. Do we have questions anywhere?
We do.
Leave us some questions.
I shall be the host today.
All right, good. Perfect. Well, let's bring on our first contestant. Who do you want to
go to? James.
James, why not? He's first on the board. Should be first up. Hi, James. How are you?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
Pretty good, sir. Pretty good. Take your shot here. Let's see what happens. Good luck. All right, Adam. Ask away.
These are Scraby questions, by the way.
Right. So, and we're going to have to probably double check them all, Did
I just take a shot at Scraby while he's gone? Let me read this easy question Scraby left behind. What team has the worst record in Major League Baseball this year?
This year?
Oh, this year? So the White Sox?
It is not. The White Sox.
I just said it was an easy question.
Yeah, it wasn't easy for James. It's the Rockies.
Colorado.
Yeah, sorry, James. No, he's out. You only get one.
I was giving that ding to you.
Oh, you're giving me the ding. Sorry, James. You are. You got to get it right. Colorado is the clearly the worst team. I saw they lost 18-0 over the weekend to Baltimore.
Back to the run differential.
I felt good for them, though, because that wasn't their worst loss of the season. They had a worse one than that.
21-0 at home with Stephen Kolek on the mound for the Padres.
Man, that was some performance.
All right, we've got Jerry in El Cajon.
Hi, Jerry. Welcome to it.
How we doing?
Pretty good, Jerry. Pretty good, sir. Good luck to you.
Which NFL team had the #1 overall pick in the most recent NFL draft?
I might got blank on this. Let's think about it. #1 overall pick went to. It was a quarterback. Cam Ward went to Tennessee.
Tennessee. I think he got it.
Hold that one out.
It took a while,
Nice
but he
job.
got
I had
there.
to think through that.
Yeah, you did.
I had to think that one through.
It's all
You
good.
did.
That's
That
all
all
that matters.
counts.
You got it. Nice
That's all
job.
that matters. Good job.
On to round 2.
Okay.
How many games in a row did it take for the name Slam Diego to be born?
What do you mean? How many games?
How many games in a row
four
did the
games
Padres
in a
hit
row.
grand slams during the Slam
They hit
Diego
a
era?
grand slam and how many games in a row back then?
Was it 4?
This is 4. That's right.
Well done.
Way to go. Way to go. Jerry's making a comeback.
Don't call it a comeback.
Well, he got off to a slow start, but now he was on that one. Okay, one more for the title.
We'll talk about Deion Sanders a little later in the show. Which 2 NFL teams did Deion Sanders play only 1 season with?
2 teams. he
Only
played
one season?
1 season.
Correct.
Let's go.
Did he? He might have.
According to Matt
49ers
Scraby.
in Atlanta.
49ers in
What'd you say?
Atlanta. He said
49ers
49ers
in
in Atlanta. That's what he said there. All right, I agree with 49ers, but I'm trying to think of who he played with after, because I know he started with Atlanta. I'm pretty sure the 49ers was 1 year. He was at Dallas for a while.
Does it make me a bad person that I'm checking Scraby's work here?
No, probably not. You better check it. I recall Deion suiting up for, and I'm proud to call them the Redskins. That's my
Proud to
guess.
call them the Redskins.
Why not?
Interesting thing to be proud of.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Jerry. I snuck it out at the wire. Did he play for anyone else? Deion?
Yeah, he played. I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
I would have actually guessed the team that would have been wrong after the Washington franchise, the Baltimore Ravens.
Washington franchise.
The Commanders played 2 seasons for the Ravens.
Actually, Redskins is the one that is offensive. That's fair.
Yeah, so that's
no,
what
that's
I'm
fair. No,
proud
I
to
shouldn't
call
say
them
that.
out
I
on.
shouldn't say that. Indians is something that I don't think qualifies necessarily as offensive.
Falcons, 49ers, Cowboys,
Washington football
team and the Ravens with the Washington and 49ers, the only teams he played for 1 season.
Got it. Okay. On we go.
Let's see. We've got, I know Guy in Bay Park.
I like Guy. Hi, Guy.
Hey, Chris. What's up, man? Hey.
We're here.
How you guys doing?
We're very good. Thank you for playing today, sir. Good luck to you.
Great. Yeah.
Here we go.
Give it a try.
Yes, sir.
Which country did the Padres open last season playing in?
That's crazy.
Korea.
It's the first round. We let him get away with that, right?
What did he say?
He said Korea.
Oh, yeah. No, that's good.
South Korea.
South Korea. Yeah, that's good.
All right, here we go.
I mean, he could have just, America, South America. They're all the same.
Yeah, all the Americas.
They're all the same. Very good.
Dakota, Carolina.
South Dakota. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Which young shortstop won last year's AL batting title with an impressive .332 batting average?
AL batting title.
AL.
Last year.
Shortstop.
Oh,
Young.
that's a good
All
one.
in the wording.
That seems like a pretty good clue.
It was what's the kid we got rid of that went to Washington? That guy. Was it that kid?
Oh,
that would be C.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
he plays in the
CJ.
National League, and he did not.
Good. I was going to give you a clue, but he might not have known anyway.
Yeah.
Bobby Witt Jr. was on Scraby's fantasy team.
Okay, that's
He
good.
never
Thank
stopped
you.
talking about him.
Hey, by the way, the music's up so loud I can barely hear you guys asking the questions.
Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry about that, guy, but we
All right, guys.
appreciate
All
you
right, have a good
playing.
one.
Yes, sir.
I
Adam.
guess I get blamed on that one, huh?
Yeah, you're the guy. It's all your fault.
All right.
So we got time for
One more?
Yeah, Hayden up there.
Here's I already clicked our friend Dexter in Spring
Oh,
Valley.
good, Dexter. I didn't see you.
Do you want to do a regular round, or do you want to do one of the?
No, let's. No, Dexter doesn't get a tiebreaker.
All right.
He gets a regular round.
Okay.
Hi, Dexter. Didn't see you there. How's the?
Hey, fellas. Just so you know, I'm still recovering from Comic-Con.
I was going to
The one
say
thing that
you-
Elo hates because the Padres have to go on a long road trip because of it.
Yeah, but they're back home. Is it over?
And then, they're back home. That means it's over.
It's over. Okay. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
The Comic-Con road trip.
The Comic-Con road trip. Dexter with a good reminder there. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't hate it because the Padres go on a long road trip, Dexter. I just have never really gotten into it. I'm sorry. And I'm not a fan of a lot of people.
Could you imagine traffic downtown if Padres games ain't Comic-Con?
I hate to tell you, I'm not a fan of a ton of people. Comic-Con, I've heard, is crowded. But anyway, we love Dexter because he is a Comic-Con. He represents. Every
Volume
year.
is turned down.
Turn the volume down. Ask the question. Here we go.
Okay.
Dexter's ready.
All right. Which fast food character's head appeared on the top of Petco Park's right field foul pole?
Would that be Mr. Box, Jack?
Senior Box.
He is up there.
You have Jack in the Box fame. Yes. All right, here we
Do
go.
you think anybody sees that? Like, what percentage
Oh,
of
yeah.
people know the answer to that question? Everybody?
I think Padres fans know.
Okay.
Padres fans know.
Yeah, because we get every time they hit a homer, we get a free burger.
I know, but that doesn't highlight the actual Jack guy
They
up
go to
there,
the
does
games.
it?
They see it. They know.
Okay, everybody sees it. Okay,
Here we go.
here we go.
With lower volume for Guy.
Yeah, but it's
Who leads the Padres in batting average over the last 30 days?
Ooh, I bet I know.
El Capitan, Mr. Machado.
I would say him.
Chris was giving you a warning.
Oh, it's not?
Oh.
I thought that meant you knew for sure the answer.
No, I thought it was
And we're
him.
warning him not to get it wrong, but Manny Machado off the board.
Who leads the Padres in batting average the last 30 days? That's not Manny Machado.
Oh, okay.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Don't
He gets to go to
say
the
it,
next round if he gets this
Dexter.
wrong.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss this.
Yeah.
On not on purpose, but I who else has been swinging a hot bat? Is there somebody's 1 for 1?
No,
Bryce Johnson.
There's a qualified number of at-bats here.
I don't know. Who's
Bryce
hotter
Johnson
than
your
man?
guess?
Yeah. Who is it?
The X-Man. Xander Bogaerts.
Dang, Xander. All right. Good for you, Dexter. You go on. I didn't think that was fair to guess anybody other than Manny because I really was going to guess Manny. I didn't think that was even a question. Good job, Xander. And good job for you, Dexter.
This next round's tough for me because I'm trying to pick a question that maybe he can get right or
Nah,
too hard. Maybe you would
just
get
give
it.
him one.
Here we go, Dexter.
Do it.
Who holds the record for most career postseason home runs?
In the history of
postseason.
baseball.
And that's overall, correct?
And yes,
All
overall postseason,
postseason
a hitter,
play.
not a pitcher giving up home runs. A hitter.
Okay.
The home runs.
Hitter.
Yep. Who's got the most?
Trying to win for you because I don't know if Chris will get it.
I'm gonna go with the lowest hanging fruit. Is that the Babe?
The problem with the Babe is he didn't have all those extra rounds of playoffs.
Not enough games.
Yeah. Mickey Mantle used to be the World Series and probably still is the World Series record holder. I think the overall holder is Manny Ramirez, but there might have been somebody who passed him.
Manny Ramirez?
Manny Ramirez.
Unreal.
Good job.
It's a long delay. Sorry, Dexter.
I was building the drama with the
You
delay.
did. You built the drama, man. I was on the edge of my seat. All right. Sorry, Dexter. I don't know. We've gone way past the time.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
I said we go no winner today.
No winner today. We'll have two
Sorry.
winners tomorrow. We got to get to break. We're so far past it. Sorry, everyone. Remind Scraby tomorrow that we'll do an extra one. More Gwynn and Chris coming up after traffic.
There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are league 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel. He wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble. And Chris is playing well, Tony's playing well. But our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well. So. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Scrape. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just around League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense. There's a squirrel, but he wants to attack me. Squirrely! We just got our second birdie of the day thanks to this guy.
Yeah, a 4-footer after.
It was a 5-footer.
After our pro drove it 300 to the front of the green and then chipped it within 5 feet.
Uh-oh.
Gravy, don't feed the animals.
Don't feed the animals. I do feed animals, but Chris made a birdie putt. Leaving the golf course. And we ended up shooting 63 once everything was accounted for, since it was a scramble and we had an SDSU golf player, Jack Townsend. He was with us and he did a lot for us. I think we shot 63 because of him, but we all had a good time. There's a Roadrunner. Meet me. He doesn't like me. I guess I wouldn't like me either if I was chasing me. As you can see, I'm all Aztec'd out here at the Aztec Baseball Tournament. It's the SDSU Baseball Alumni Tournament. Right now, we are 1 under in the scramble, and Chris is playing well, so he's playing well, but our ringer, Jack Townsend, is playing really well, so. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Scrape. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You've hit some.
We are just around League 10 now, and it's getting really windy. It's actually kind of cold. I'm not gonna lie, I know we're in San Diego, but we're 3 under as a group. We just got off the birdie, and I just hit my defense.
Didn't cheat. We just ended up winning. Good for us. We'll have another round of Chris vs. the Fans tomorrow. Have an extra prize to give away. We didn't have time to get a winner in there today. 4:25 is the time, so ran a little late there. I have a quick note, and then I want to hear Dennis Lynn, who was on with Ben and Woods this morning, talking about, and Dennis Lynn is from The Athletic, good writer, as you know, talking about whether tonight could be Dylan Cease's last Padre appearance. And I think it's a fair question, all his name swirling around, trades, etc. But before I get to that, I like to point this out, Adam, because I'm weird like this. Will Smith is not in the Dodger lineup tonight. Catcher, Will Smith. Because he's not in the lineup, as of right now, he does not have enough plate appearances to qualify for the National League batting lead. So, officially, right at this moment, the leading hitter in the National League is one Manny Machado. How about that? Just something weird. Like if Will Smith gets another at bat.
You think he's cruising towards a batting title?
I don't think he's cruising toward it. I mean, he's 24 points behind Will Smith. But Will Smith has to, qualify for the batting title. If he were to, say, get hurt, miss, 10 days somewhere, Will Smith batting average may come off the boards. In which case, Manny Machado's 300 is looking pretty good as of right now.
You know, Padres fans have had
Strange.
some pretty great seasons to root for and cheer for, some postseason awards. You know, Tatis had a third-place MVP, and Jake had a runner-up Rookie of the Year.
I think Manny had a second.
Manny got runner-up for MVP. We got a batting title out of Arise. We got a Cy Young out of Blake Snell. There's been some
We get
pretty
a lot of
exciting
that
moments.
stuff. Yeah, we get a lot of that stuff. Of course, Tony would give us a batting title just about every year. I think he did it 8 times. Sheffield did it once for us.
But I wasn't here for when Tony did it back in the day. But
yeah,
I have to imagine, and maybe I'm wrong, did it feel different night in, night out, rooting for him to win that title than it did last year for Arise?
It mattered more then. And not because it was Tony Gwynn, but just people cared who won the batting title back in the 80s.
But it was also Tony Gwynn.
And it was also Tony, so we certainly took it as a matter of pride here in rooting for him to win it every year. But you're right. Yeah, the batting title is a bigger deal then than now. All right. Will this be Cease's last start? And I don't think it really matters whether he's good or bad tonight, Adam. Like, is there a certain thing to root for? You know what I mean? Is he good tonight? Maybe that increases his trade value if they're thinking of trading him.
Well,
if he's bad, maybe nobody wants him.
Well, that's
you know what I mean? I don't know what to root for tonight.
That's the perspective of fans. There's the perspective of the front office. And look, the front office wants him to pitch well. They want to win the game.
Yes, they
and
need to
raise his value. But the fans, plenty of people have been wanting to they're in favor of trading him. But if he shoves and goes 7 shutout innings, 10 strikeouts, you might have to rethink that a little bit.
Well, here's what Dennis Lynn had to say on with Ben and Woods this morning.
Could go either way. I think there are a lot of people around the game, including people probably inside the organization, telling AJ, hey, you have to trade him. This is sort of like a mini version of the Juan Soto situation from a couple winters ago. You know you're not going to re-sign him. He's a guy who's kind of in demand right now. There's not that many guys like him on the market. Seth Lugo just signed an extension. Doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. So as far as rentals go, Dylan has a lot of interest from a lot of teams right now. So I think if AJ can maybe trade him and fill like multiple needs and get some controllable guys in, that's something he would definitely do. If not, if he doesn't see anything compelling enough out there, I think he's perfectly fine keeping him. But I think tonight's start's going to have a lot of scouts at it and a lot of interest from just around baseball.
Dennis Lynn from The Athletic. Very interesting. Cease still has 144 strikeouts this year in 113 innings. That is appealing to a lot of people. The 3-10, 4.59 is not too appealing, I must tell you, but I think a lot of teams willing to overlook that and say, hey, he strikes out a lot of guys. And eventually that's going to start translating to, him getting some wins. It is crazy that he has only 3 wins all year. He has none of them on the road, Adam. He's 0 for on the road this year.
I don't pay attention to win-loss record for a pitcher.
You can pitch
8 innings, give up 1 run.
I
and
understand
lose.
what you're saying, but a guy of his caliber to have not a single win on the road, I think, is telling. We'll see. I think everybody's rooting for something a little different here, and tonight, might be the last we see of Dylan Cease in a Padre uniform. When we come back, the Big Five, Deion Sanders. I didn't realize that Primetime was having such a bad time health-wise. But got some good news today. It's part of the Big Five when we come back on Gwynn and Chris. Chris. Got a big five coming up. Good stuff. Adam Klug in charge of it today. Dodgers-Reds tied at 1. They're in the second inning. Adam's rooting for the Reds. I'm rooting for the Dodgers. Both of us are trying to help the Padres in our own way. Padres take on the Mets a little later. Right now, let's check traffic and then go Big Five with Tony back in the fray.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San.
San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, it is Big Five time today. By the way, if anybody's wondering why the show seems to be going along so smoothly today, that's because Scraby is having another day off. And, I just thought I'd throw that in. I just wanted to see if I could take a shot at him while he wasn't here, Tony.
Well, I can attest that when you're not around, he certainly takes
I bet you. That's right.
So
yeah.
go have at it.
Have at it indeed. But Adam Klug has done a great job of getting us through everything today, and he'll take us through the Big Five. Go ahead, sir.
Number 1.
No.
Hello.
See, there's your first mistake that's your first mistake of the whole
Yeah, this
time
is
you've
where we
been
count
here.
down?
We start with 5, sir. It's no worries. No worries.
I'm cutting that out.
You're cutting it out?
You can't cut it out. That would have been perfect.
Number 5.
All right. Let's start off with some scary news that turned out to be pretty good news, as the University of Colorado head football coach Deion Sanders announced earlier today that he's undergone surgery to remove his bladder after doctors discovered a tumor there. There are no traces of cancer left since the surgery, and he will continue to coach the Buffaloes this season. Obviously, he's got a lot to overcome on the field that is not nearly as serious as his health, but he's overcoming the losses of his both of his sons, really. But the main one would be Shedeur, the quarterback, and Travis Hunter, the Heisman Trophy winner. What are your expectations for the Buffaloes on the field? Tony, we shall start with you.
I just want to clarify to everybody, we were talking about loss in terms of he is no longer on the team. That being said, I still expect them to be a top 25 team this year. I expect them to challenge for the Big 12 title as well. They got 2 quarterbacks. One was like the #1 ranked quarterback, I believe, or top 2 or 3, whatever it was. And they got 2 of those guys there that it sounds like are going to be competing for that job, and it sounds like it's a pretty good competition. They're going to be able to get the elite athletes. I think the thing that Deion showed last year was that after the year before, in which his offensive line was just not very good, he went out and got a little bit better. Still wasn't great, but it was good enough to get him into a bowl game. I like the adjustments from year 1 to year 2. I expect there to be more adjustments from year 2 to year 3.
Very good. I wanted to say a couple of things on Deion, and I've been thinking, but first of all, I'm glad he's healthy. I was getting a little worried, honestly, because you're hearing little reports that kept coming out of Boulder and Denver that, maybe Deion wouldn't be coaching anymore. Maybe he'd fallen really ill and his sons had been kind of not very forthcoming on information, which led me to believe that there was something very serious going on. And now we find out there really was something serious. Yeah. And so, I'm glad that he's, okay. And hopefully he'll stay okay on that. And secondly, Deion's polarizing. We all know that. But I just truly believe that he's good for the game. I just think he is. Having Deion Sanders be part of college football is a good thing for college football, and they need good things right now. We keep talking about how, the sport has changed so much, and, the NIL and everything's taken over, and there's a whole new direction. So I'm glad Deion's there. It gives me a reason to tune in on Saturdays to watch him, and I think he'll perform well. I like the fact that he's always confident. And I know the kids want to play for him, so I believe that he'll have some talent. But darn well if they go 5-7, the critics will be laying in wait for Deion Sanders, right? And saying, "Oh yeah, it's just because of his son and the whole thing." So, we'll see how he does. But I'm just a Deion fan. I know a lot of people aren't, and I get it. But I don't anybody argue that he isn't good for the sport. They need Deion, and I'm glad he's okay.
Number 2.
I kid.
Number 4.
Oh, you were trying to do it again.
The Yankees were dealt a major blow over the weekend when Aaron Judge was placed on the injured list with a right flexor strain, but he's only expected to require the minimum 10-day stay. The team says they are not considering playing Judge at first base upon his return. Chris, should the Yankees move Judge to first base?
I pray they don't. I'm so tired of everybody moving every time something happens.
It's easy to move to first base, right?
No. First of all, that's the other thing. For all of the first basemen out there, and I was kind of one of them, when I wasn't, playing baseball anyway. First base is a more difficult position than people think.
Rafael Devers would like a word.
Rafael Devers, yeah. Hey, look, everybody thinks first base, you just stand there, and it's just not the truth. So, let him play the outfield. Let him show off the arm he's got. He's fun to watch out there. And, this is a blow to the Yankees for a couple of weeks. I mean, they're losing ground fast on Toronto, and I don't know if they're going to have time to reel them back in now. This hurts, and I think the other interesting thing is this going to swing the AL MVP vote in the favor of Cal Raleigh while Judge is out?
Hit number 41 over the weekend.
Raleigh keeps on putting up those numbers, so that's the interesting part to me. But much like Deion, I hate the Yankees, but Judge is good for baseball, and I want him back in there.
Slight revision of the question for Tony. Should they move him to first base, or at least should they consider exclusively DHing him?
I think they're already behind the 8 ball defensively. I mean, they're not putting anybody out there who's better defensively. And I think the more important thing is how much is this going to affect him? This is his right arm. That would be his top hand, the hand that he uses for power as he gets through a baseball. And you wonder how much that UCL sprain or whatever is got going there is going to affect not just obviously the throwing part, but the swinging part, And so I don't know. I think the problem with moving him to first base or DH is you're going to have to remove probably an important bat that you need that makes your offense good enough to overcome the defensive issues that you have. And
if you put him at DH, where are you going to put Giancarlo Stanton?
Giancarlo,
are you
right?
kidding me?
I saw they're talking about putting him back in the outfield, but I mean, then you're risking him getting hurt as well. And you saw, and we saw last year when he got hurt, that offense as a whole went down. And then we saw how hot he got in the postseason. So I don't know. This is a conundrum for the Yankees.
Number 3.
Was I counting?
That was
forward?
The only one. No, that was the only
backwards?
one. Yeah, right. You had to get that one right.
I'll let the audience decide. Last week, the Raiders announced they were moving on from defensive tackle Christian Wilkins and would not pay him the remaining $35 million in guarantees he had on his contract. Wilkins is fighting for that money with the help of the NFLPA.
Yeah, what plea? What PA?
Earlier today on the Pat McAfee show, Adam Schefter said that Wilkins kissed a teammate on the head last week in what one source described as playful, but the player took offense to it. Schefter said the incident wasn't the only reason the Raiders decided to part ways, but a report was filed with Raiders Human Resources.
Oh, please.
Tony, I'll start with you, as you've obviously spent time in a professional locker room. Christian Wilkins allegedly kissing a teammate on the head in a playful manner. Big deal, little deal, or no deal?
I mean, you got to know your locker room. You got to know your teammates. Clearly, that wasn't that was a big deal, and so much so that it only added to the issues that they had with him before. I mean, this is an interesting question because it really depends on the type of locker room that you have, the type of guys. I would imagine in a high-level testosterone room like that, a kissing on the forehead when guys are already kind of looking at you sideways as you haven't done, kind of the things that you should do to be a good teammate. I don't know how it flies. I could see this escalating in the way that it did. And specifically in that sport, I mean, it's a lot of testosterone rolling in that bad boy, and a kiss on the forehead could be interpreted away by a certain guy that just not feeling. So, to me, it would probably be a little deal, but I could see this being a big deal for some folks.
Chris, big deal, little deal, or no deal?
I guess Tony changed my mind. I mean, I was going to say no deal at all, but maybe Tony's right. I mean, these are lunatics, some of these guys in the National Football League. So, and I started thinking about it. I mean, I'm thinking of Raiders back in the day, but I mean, if he kissed Jack Tatum or John Matuzak or one of those crazy guys on the forehead, he'd probably get flattened. So I guess it is. Yeah, I guess it is a bigger deal. Yeah, the question I have is this guy deserve and going to get his money back? I mean, that's the question. I mean, if you have a guaranteed contract, I'm sure there's some clauses in there that,
there was a certain designation the team used as to why they were.
Here's the deal. Like, when you get injured, right, you're all allowed to get second opinions, third opinions, whatever it may be. But if the consensus is one way that you should handle it, and you don't what it sounds like is he had surgery, the surgery didn't work, and he is like, I don't trust it moving forward. And so he has pretty much bypassed the second surgery that he's supposed to have and has really been combative in it the whole way. And I guess they just got to the point where they had to basically say, we're done. We're not gonna keep doing it. Now the PA is going to do their best to get that money back, and they probably have a good shot because of the collective bargaining agreement. But I do know, like, the surgery thing can be funny. Like, you're not doing all that is asked of you from the doctor's standpoint to get healthy. Maybe the Raiders have a case.
Number 2. I guess the Dolphins knew what they do when they were getting rid of this troublemaker.
Always comes back to the Dolphins.
Like, he was the only good player they had. I don't know why they let him go, but maybe this is why.
These final 2 stories are for you guys. Chris, your Chicago Bulls signed head coach Billy Donovan to a multi-year deal over the weekend. Donovan is 195 and 205 during his 5 seasons in Chicago, with 1 playoff berth in which the team lost in the first round. How do you feel about your Bulls extending Billy Donovan?
I thought they were going to build a statue of the guy next to Jordan. Yeah, this seems silly to me, but maybe. We sit here all the time, Tony and I, and we say it a lot. We fire coaches way too early. And 99% of the time, I think that's true. Coaches give it everything they got, and then they, have a 3 out of 5 losing streak, and they're out the door. But Billy Donovan is the other direction. They keep giving him time, but they also aren't giving him any players. So right. I think they recognize that maybe he's just the best guy for this situation that they continually find themselves in. Here's the thing with Billy Donovan also. He was the best coach in the world when he was at Florida. He's been pretty successful in the NBA except for this job. So I don't think he's forgotten how to coach. I mean, Oklahoma City did a great job for them. So I don't think he's ever forgotten how to coach. I think the organization just is terrible. So maybe this is the best thing. Because, you're going to start with somebody brand new, then you're going to take further steps back. So maybe I'll give the Bulls a little credit here.
The Thunder did win a title after he left. I'm just saying. Hey, Tony, what do you think?
Well, the Thunder also have a smarter, probably the best GM in all of
he was
NBA.
there with Billy D.
Well, I'm saying, but he didn't. Those moves didn't take place until
Correct.
after he bounced. And, by the way, they just won it.
Billy Donovan's a Florida Gator. Let me take my shots, okay?
All right, Georgia boy.
There it is.
There it is.
That's
That's it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I stand corrected. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
How do you feel about the Bulls extending him, given his
I don't mind
results?
it. I kind of agree. As Chris kind of mentioned, we talk about this all the time, and he has been given a chance, but he also has been given nothing. I mean, and I think sometimes in sports, and this is not just basketball, this is a lot of different sports, a lot of major sports. Sometimes when ownership is deciding, we don't really want to spend that kind of money, it's better to have a coach like this right now. I think he probably at this point is not ruffling any feathers. He understands how this thing is going to go. And I think Chris is also right. He's a good coach. I just think that he has been given pieces that don't necessarily fit together and has tried to make do with what he has had to make do with. And
he also had before. I know this is crazy because Lonzo Ball was the guy for them, right? Tony,
right.
I get them confused.
Yep.
I don't know that he was that amazing, but when he got hurt,
he was
2.5 years ago.
Sure.
They had the best record in the league, and then they just never recaptured that. And I don't know if that's the excuse or not, but anyway, maybe I like this. Maybe more teams ought to stick with their coaches instead of,
I'm for it. Unless you have just been god awful,
right?
I'm all for it. That you should stick with these coaches a little bit longer. Like it shouldn't just be a 2-year window and you're done.
Good for the Bulls. They're going to be rewarded handsomely for this move.
The Nuggets coach, what's his name? Mike Malone? He would like a word, right?
Yeah, right.
He's
Mike
entered
Malone.
the chat.
Yeah, win an NBA title, and we'll see you on the way out.
Number 1.
All right, Tony, over to your beloved Lakers. In an interview featured in Men's Health, Luka Doncic says he took a huge step in improving his health and conditioning this offseason, and that his whole body looks better. Doncic does appear to be in much better shape in the pictures that were published in the magazine. Isn't this just a prime example of someone getting revenge on their ex after getting dumped?
Yes, that's right. She dumps you, you immediately look like
Right
an
to the gym,
Adonis.
right?
Yeah, right to the gym. Good,
I think that works better for. I think that works better for women than men. I think men go the opposite way a lot of times.
Right, yeah, right. Men just get on the couch for about 6 months.
I don't know that this is all about revenge. I think sometimes you get humbled. And I think, yes, part of it is that Dallas tried to make him look crazy after they traded him to try to soften the blow as they made the move. But I think it was kind of obvious as he paired with perhaps the greatest conditioned athlete that we've ever seen on a nightly basis. And it was clear that this 40-year-old man was having zero problems. He didn't look flustered. He didn't look, tired at times. He just looked better. And I know they're two different athletes, but I think it was probably as much of that as it was Dallas trying to make him look crazy. That, you know what, there is another level that I can go. And as good as Luka is, and I think we all would agree he's MVP good, we also recognize that this is probably the next step for him. And I think that's probably has to do with as much about LeBron and him being a Laker as it does him being getting revenge on the Dallas Mavericks.
Breaking news, Tony calls out Kyrie Irving for not being as well-conditioned as LeBron. Okay, your turn, Chris.
I will just say, I'm
sorry, Kyrie. That's just a fact, dog.
I'm going to say that this could be really bad news for the rest of the NBA, is what I think it could be. Because I think Luka Doncic has been as great as he has been without being in supreme condition. It's hard to judge. I'm not there. I don't see what he can, run on the treadmill. But just by the eye test, the guy is not in, supremely carved out condition, the likes of some of the really amazing superstar athletes.
Had he ever been on Men's Health magazine before this time?
Right. Yeah. I mean, Tom Brady was a bit of a doughboy. By the end of his career, he was pretty cut, and he was still performing at that level because he knew he needed to be. Michael Jordan took steps to get even in better shape. Finally, after losing, 7 times to the Pistons or whatever, he was tired of it. This could be really bad news because if Luka's as good as he was before, he could be a whole lot better now. He needs another half step defensively. The statistics showed it in the playoffs. And, I think this could be a good thing for the Lakers. And I think whatever J.J. Redick said at the end of the season when he said, hey, some of our guys got to get in better condition. Remember that line? He might have heard that one too. So
yeah, yes, no, J.J. Redick certainly. I think that's who the message was for. I don't think it was for anybody else but Luka.
Yeah, I mean, this guy comes in supreme shape, and he's got the talent. So, all right, thank you, Adam. Very good on the Big Five today. We'll take a quick break. Much more, a final hour or so, happy hour stuff headed your way as Gwynn and Chris continues before Padres Mets tonight on 97.3 The Fan.
What's up, everybody? Tony Gwynn Jr. here. SDCCU Stuff the Bus is back again to collect monetary donations to purchase back-to-school supplies for students experiencing homelessness in San Diego County. Donations can be made online at sdccu.com/donate or in store at participating Jersey Mike's locations in San Diego County. During the last school year, more than 23,000 children were experiencing homelessness in San Diego County. Kids face many hardships. School supplies should not be one of them. SDCCU is partnering with the San Diego County Office of Education to collect donations, which will be used to purchase back-to-school supplies for local students experiencing homelessness. We encourage the community to support this effort. A small donation can make a big difference in the lives of these children. Federally insured by the NCUA. For details, visit sdccu.com/donate.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Upgrade your learning experience during Dell Technologies back-to-school event with AI PCs like the Dell 14 Plus featuring an Intel Core Ultra processor starting at $749.99. Supercharge your studies with features like real-time notes transcription, AI-accelerated hardware to run multiple apps without slowing down, extended battery life, and more. That's the power of new AI PCs with Intel inside. Discover a smarter way to learn at Dell.com/deals. That's Dell.com/deals.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code EARN to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code EARN for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
KWFN and KWFN HD1 San Diego.
Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Don't worry about missing Padres news. We'll update you on the latest on your way home.
Gwynn and Chris, weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on 97.3 The Fan.
An Odyssey Sports Station. Attention, 97.3 The Fan listeners. If you're drowsy, sluggish, or feeling fatigued, you're about to get your afternoon boost with Tony Gwynn Jr.,
The thing about criminals like that, they can sniff out a mark.
Chris Ello,
I got a 20 here. Can I get 5 fives, please?
and Matt Scraby.
I'm not a mark!
Don't blame us for any side effects.
You thrilled our fans throughout the postseason with a great performance.
Gwynn and Chris are ready to go.
5. Gwynn and Chris gets underway. A little happy hour action, Adam Klug. And this hour is our happy hour. And because of that, we thank our friends at GL Pools. They are the swimming pool experts. They're trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball's back, so is swim season. Call now, mention radio. Get a free month of pool service. Our guys, GL Pools, make sure you check that out and mention radio so they know that you heard them on our very show right here. Gwynn and Chris rolling along now. The trade deadline is Thursday. Padres and Mets tonight. Nothing's happened with the Padres today. We discussed it already. Dylan Cease starting tonight. A lot of people say, will it be his last? Maybe it should be his last. Or maybe a lot of people don't want it to be his last. It's going to be interesting. I think you can make a prediction and be right, or you could be, just flat out miss it. I thought trading Dylan Cease made no sense. But now that Michael King is, hopefully back, he had a sim game today, seemed to come out of it fine, but we'll know more, I'm sure, in the coming hours. Maybe Dylan Cease just is not that needed. On the other side, Darvish hasn't yet showed what he can do, and he's got a day more to come back. His normal rotation would have had him starting tomorrow, but it looks like Darvish will start Wednesday with an extra day. I don't know. I'm not sure what the right move is. I honestly almost think, Adam, it comes down to what they can get for him. If they get enough, I think you do it. And if they don't, you say, hey, well, we never wanted to trade him, and you just move on.
I know it sounds like super nuanced, but that's always the right answer.
Maybe it is.
If they can get the right amount,
maybe
regardless of the player, almost. You're not trading Tatis,
it's not like you have to trade Dylan Cease to make the playoffs, or you don't have to make the playoffs. I think either direction could work. I was the one who said I think Suarez is the best trade bait, but the more I think about it, the more times I see the four horsemen close down a game, I don't think A.J. Preller's going to be willing to do it. I don't think he's going to be willing to do it. I think he wants to keep those four guys together. It's the one known strength that this team has. We'll see. Next few days will be interesting. We'll cover it all starting Thursday morning with Ben and Woods, bright and early, right on through the Padre Roundtable, 10 to 11, commercial-free hour of Padre talk. Braden Surprenant, myself, Tony. Padres are off Thursday, so we will have everything that happens on Thursday pretty much right as it's happening. So make sure you're with us all day Thursday. Talking more about the trade deadline with both Tony and I, though, earlier today was Mike Ferrin, MLB Network Radio, provided a lot of insight, and you'll now have that insight. We are joined by Mike Ferrin, MLB Network Radio's Power Alley. Mike, we really appreciate you taking some time. I know it's a busy week for everybody, talking to the Padre fans out here in San Diego. How are you today, sir?
I'm great, guys. It's great to be with you.
Thanks so much for being with us. And all right, so the Padres haven't done anything yet. Should the panic fans be going into panic mode, Mike, or can you calm them down a little bit?
No, I think you guys both hit on it. I mean, I think it's the nature of deadlines, right? Like nobody files their taxes on March 5th, right? They file at 11:55 on April 14th, right? Like that's or April 15th. Like that's what it is deadlines force the decisions. It is frustrating for fans. It is frustrating for broadcasters who cover the sport. It is, I would guess, for an aggressive general manager like AJ Preller, frustrating for him because he'd like to get something done. But, listen, I think things are going to start to pick up after today. I talked to a scout this weekend who was like, I think today is an off day in the minor leagues, right? Every Monday is. And I think it's the time where you start to see teams get serious on who wants what. And I think just about all the scouting is done that needs to be done for players. There'll probably be some last looks that come over the course of the next 72 hours, Tuesday and Wednesday, for really it's a 48-hour span. But I think generally speaking, this is when it's going to start getting down to brass tacks for all of these teams. And you're going to start seeing some more significant movement here, probably in the next 24 hours or so.
Mike Ferrin joins us here on Gwynn and Chris. You can catch him and Jim Duquette on Power Alley MLB Network Radio. He does a terrific job. I've gotten a chance to get to know Mike over the last few years. And Mike, who is the one guy or one team that you're paying most attention to as we start getting into this final week of the deadline? Because it certainly seems like there are a bunch of teams that are in this thing and that are looking to be buyers in that case. Is there one team or one player you're looking at with a lot of focus right now?
Well, I'll give you this, so, Tony. I've got, I think, a front row seat to one of the most fascinating spots on the docket right now, which is I'm filling in doing Diamondbacks play-by-play, and in Detroit, where the Tigers have seen things kind of fall apart in the last 2 weeks. They have a 14-game lead in the division on July 8th. They have lost 13 of their last 15 games. That lead is down to 8. And they are in need of multiple things. They just placed Reese Olson on the 60-day IL today, who is one of their top starting pitchers. They backfilled that by trading for Chris Paddock, who's really struggled for Minnesota. And so, they are trying to figure it out. They also need offense. The offense has disappeared in the month of July. They reportedly have some interest in Eugenio Suarez, who is in the middle of the Diamondbacks lineup. And, this Diamondbacks team has tried to do everything they can to keep selling at bay. Now with a 1-5 week last week against Houston and dropping 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh, they probably are going to move more of their pending free agents. They've already traded Josh Naylor. They traded Randall Grichuk and Eugenio Suarez, Merrill Kelly, maybe Zach Gallen. All could be on the move this week. So I think this is really interesting to watch both of these teams because, listen, I think even if the Diamondbacks do make those deals, as you've seen, they're a pretty talented offensive team. They seem to have players that everybody wants, which means their returns should be, especially for Suarez, probably better than you would normally see for a rental bat.
Yeah.
At least that's the feel right now, and we'll see what happens when they decide to pull the trigger on him. And I think with Detroit, this is now, right? This has been the story of the first half. They can't go with half measures, and they're not going to trade their top 2 prospects probably in Kevin McGonigal and Max Clark, but they should have other guys that they make available because this is the chance for them to win right now. Prove that the first half of this season wasn't a fluke.
Mike Ferrin, MLB Network Radio's Power Alley, joining us here, talking a little trade deadline. Of course, Thursday is the big day. We'll all start it off with our Padre Roundtable, by the way, that morning from 10 to 11 and right on through Braden's show and our show in the afternoon. You won't miss any of the trade info. Mike, let's take a look from the Padres' perspective a little bit. To me, I think when the name Dylan Cease first came up as maybe being trade dead, I was a little surprised. It seems like we've all kind of come to grips that that's something that's a possibility now. But even if that happens, you got to believe the Padres are buyers at this point. They are leading the wild card race. And I wonder if you're hearing anything at all about interest in Robert Suarez, because I think the Padres do have an incredible depth in the bullpen. And I don't know, maybe they don't even want to mess with it, but he is a free agent at the end of the year. It seems like they could get a lot in areas they need. Are you hearing his name at all?
Yeah, I think there is definitely interest in Suarez, and I think he's going to be a guy that if you were to pick between Suarez and Cease, and you were to say one of these guys was definitely going to move, I would say Suarez is the better bet because of what you said, the depth of the bullpen. There's 3 all-stars in the bullpen, right? So they are in pretty good shape. Now, you're weakening a great strength of this team if you do it, but if you're able to fill other needs, it certainly would make sense. I think the only way Cease happens is if there was, it would have to be very complicated, right? You're trading Cease for something that you need. Maybe it's part of a 3-team deal, or maybe it's, you're able to backfill in a couple spots by getting starting pitchers that you can control beyond this year and probably next. And that's really difficult to do. Now, if anybody can do it, we all know that AJ Preller doesn't sleep. So he's probably got the most hours available to him in a given day to be able to pull that off. But I think it's very complicated. And even then, I think my guess is their preference would be to use prospects to be able to acquire the needs that they have, as opposed to removing from the major league roster. You just don't see that very often for a contender. But yeah, if I had to guess, I think, Suarez's market would be fairly robust because he's got player options after this year. And as long as he stays healthy, he undoubtedly will decline those, but he's only owed 2/3 of $8 million. So I'm not very good at math, but that seems like under $3 million. And there's a lot of teams that can fit him in the budget.
Mike, how much does the kind of news of Emmanuel Clase probably being off the board now, given what he is kind of dealing with, does that intensify the market for a guy like Suarez? With Clase certainly having to deal with this situation in terms of the gambling.
Yeah, I think that there's a good chance. I mean, what I was most curious about, if in fact, Clase was going to be available, and I think there was a good chance, it sounded like this was going to be the deadline that Cleveland moved in. If that was the case, then he was going to have a pretty big return. Well, now there's one less closer that's available, right, on the market. And so now you're limited to, Ryan Helsley and David Bednar, who I just saw this weekend and looked fantastic. Former Padre, really throwing the ball well. I think it's 25 straight scoreless outings for him now. And you've got control of him for another year. And then Suarez. Suarez is the cheapest in terms of dollars, at least the pending free agents in that. Bednar, you get to keep for another year. So
right.
I think that's all part of the equation. Closers tend to get you, especially bona fide ones, and Suarez is certainly that, tend to get you healthy returns at the deadline. So if they do decide to move him, I think they will do quite well. But again, I'm very skeptical. They would have to be blown away by offers to trade somebody off the major league roster. I just think they want to fill those holes in other ways possible. And even if you're able to find more depth pieces, let's say it's 5 guys to fill 3 spots, that probably makes more sense just in terms of being able to add some depth. I know they love impact there, but at some point you've just got to look at the roster and say we need more options for Mike Shildt to deploy.
Yeah, by the way, if you're just tuning in out there and you heard Clase and gambling and you're thinking, what happened? There is a bit of a probe underway. Baseball is looking into some possibilities with Emmanuel Clase. Tony and I will talk about it when we get a chance a little bit later on, but he is right now on administrative leave, which is what Tony and Mike are talking about there, that could open up room for another closer to be dealt. The other thing, Mike, with the trade deadline, and now more than ever, there just seems like there's a lot of misinformation, right? And we have to try to sort through it and try to figure out what's what. I saw one the other day that said that the Boston Red Sox immediately turned down an offer of Dylan Cease and the great prospect Ethan Salas for Jarren Duran. And the word immediately is what kind of caught my mind. Really, you wouldn't even think about that trade, huh? So I don't know what's true, what's not true. But is Jarren Duran the answer for somebody if that's the route the Padres choose to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's certainly a guy that the Padres are pursuing. And I think that reporter in that case was Sean McAdam, who has a pretty good reputation in Boston. So, I do think, I can look at it from Boston's standpoint and say, hey, listen, we've got 3 years of control and a guy who was an all-star a year ago, had a rough first half, but is a really important guy in our room, and we would be trading him for 2 months of a starting pitcher and a catcher who's currently out with a back issue, and while he's an enticing prospect, still hasn't hit well in the minor leagues. I can see why Boston would dismiss it out of hand, too. So, and I also think that AJ Preller is one of those guys that, I don't know if you read the Athletic piece today on executives and how they go about it, but he was compared by one executive to a fisherman, and that he's got 1,000 lines in the water while he's sitting in the middle of a boat in the middle of a lake. And I love that analogy because AJ will text people and come up with ideas, and he loves to be active in that regard. So I think in that case, it would make sense. Listen, I think if Jarren Duran is available, and it doesn't sound like Boston is motivated to move him, they need first base help, and pitching like everybody else does. But if they were to discuss Duran, he is the kind of guy that a team like San Diego would certainly benefit from. He would be a catalyst to the top of that lineup. He would be a real offensive force, I think. I think fans would gravitate towards his energy. That the way that ballpark is packed. I mean, every night it looks like there are people like literally hanging from the rafters or like dangling from the balconies of the Western Metal Supply building. Like, I just get the sense that Duran would be somebody that could electrify that crowd to another level. I love the idea that I just am really skeptical that they would make a move as Boston at all. And if they did, it's more likely they would do it in the winter when there are probably more teams that would be focused on him, as opposed to, it's not just like a buyer needs to look at him now, but I think you get a better sense of where your roster sits in the winter. And if you're a team that might not be looking to add at this deadline, you might have interest in more in the winter than you would right now.
Host of MLB Network's Radio's Power Alley, Mike Ferrin, joins us, one of the most knowledgeable people you'll ever come across. Mike, you mentioned Padre prospects and them probably wanting to go that route in terms of addressing some of the needs that they have on this roster. I think many Padre fans are familiar with DeVries. They're familiar with Ethan. Who are some of the other names that some of these other teams may covet in a deal with the Padres to address some of those needs that they have?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Tony, because I think, generally speaking, I would think certainly Leo DeVries is off limits. Braden Nett is a guy that has people fairly excited. He's a double-A pitcher in San Antonio. He was a guy that they signed out of the draft leagues. He was a really intriguing guy. They have some pitching kind of at the A-ball level. Cash Mayfield was a pretty prominent prep player in the state of Oklahoma. I think he was a two-time Gatorade Player of the Year there. I think Henry Baez is a name that I think you're going to see jump up lists here. I think Ryan Bergert is a guy that probably would be interesting to teams looking for somebody who had a chance to start in the big leagues. So I think a lot of that focus would kind of come in that pitching in the next group. And listen, it's not as deep as it was a year ago when he made all of those trades with prospects. We joked that AJ had prospects burning a hole in his pocket, right? He was ready to go. But there's going to be people that are interested for sure. And the other thing I wouldn't count is trying to put together some sort of 3-team package, because he's creative enough to do that, where you're acquiring prospects that you either are using to flip as part of a deal or to backfill some of the moves that you make. Like, that to me is one of the intriguing things. If you don't have enough prospects to make a deal, do you have someone you can trade off your major league roster to get those guys? I mean, again, I put the odds very low that they're trading off their major league roster, but if they do, that would be something I would keep an eye on as well.
Mike, we really appreciate the time. Couple seconds left here. I just wanted to get your thoughts, not trade deadline wise, but just on the Padres in general. Are you bullish on this team? Are you not sure about this team? I think that's where most of us fall. Can they make a move, or is this trade deadline crucial to them to get the right piece to be able to really be serious about something?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important, just because the offense has been so inconsistent, and really not as good over the last 8 weeks. And it's just a different offense than they had a year ago. They don't have as many guys that help to move the line. There's a little bit more chase. There's a little bit more aggressiveness. So I think those things absolutely factor into it. I don't know that it needs to be the biggest move. I know that that's the way AJ's wired, but I think getting some guys that can create traffic on the bases and make good swing decisions. Some of those guys aren't always expensive, but getting them into the lineup can really help in trying to create more consistency. Because I think one thing, and I think Tony and I talked about this a couple of weeks ago, Mike Schilt in the second half, like that so far has been a really real thing. His teams after the All-Star break for his career have won at 103 win pace. And that's what their winning percentage is. So you improve a little bit and know that the manager's coming to get the opponents. Like, I do think that there's something to that with Schilt, because it's happened like every single year of his career.
Yeah.
Our fingers are crossed. that holds up. And Mike, thanks for the time. Really enjoyed chatting with you, and hope to do it again. If you need anything on our end, let us know. But we appreciate you giving us all a little update here in San Diego.
We'll do it. Just know that Tony's buying the next time we're out to dinner. So that's exactly what I got.
Wait a minute. That would be the first time if that happens, Mike. But okay, good luck on that. Let us know how it works.
Swing was so short. It's because his arms are. That's why.
So deep pockets, as they say, short arms. Mike,
I appreciate you, Mike. Thank
Love
you,
to see you. Talk to you later. Bye.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here. Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here. Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
these things. It even tells you, hey, the's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Scraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard.
Sasquatch. So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but I can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some. Welcome back, Gwynn and Chris. Final segment of our Monday get-together. Thank you very much to Adam Klug. Did a great job filling in the last 3 shows, Thursday, Friday, today. Who was the guy that used to be our producer? Forget that guy. He's coming back tomorrow.
Scrap maybe?
Scrap maybe. Coming back tomorrow. But Adam Klug, you were right on it. Good stuff. Appreciate your contributions. We'll have a Fantabulous Sports game show tomorrow, and it'll be the first time in a while that Scraby gets to play Tony in the Fantabulous Sports game show. I also believe Buster Olney's on tomorrow. I think so. Pretty sure Buster Olney as we get closer and closer to the trade deadline. No Padre trades today. If you're just tuned in, really the only trade made today, former Padre Chris Paddock was sent by the Twins to the Detroit Tigers. Tonight, the Padres send Dylan Cease to the mound. Perhaps the final time you'll hear us say that. Cease at 3-10. But we should point out that the Padres with him on the mound are 10-11. So they normally win as long as he keeps them in the game. And that's really been the story all year. You know that Padres starting pitchers only have 26 wins this whole year. Nick Pivetta has 10 of those. The bullpen has 31 wins. And you just wonder, how long can you keep messing around with this low-scoring, close games style of play? I mean, you won yesterday 9-2, but that's the exception with the Padres this year, not the rule. The Padres have scored 3 or fewer runs this year 52 times. That is just shy of half their games. But what's remarkable, they have won 18 of those games. I mean, that means your staff just has to come through every time. Padres have won 12 games this year when they score 2 or fewer runs. I don't think anybody in baseball is anywhere near that. Padres have also won a Major League best 36 games by 1 or 2 runs. And that just means one swing of the bat can turn it the other way. So will this hold up? Padres are just 1 game up on the Reds for the final wild card spot. That's why tonight, despite Adam Klug's pleas to the contrary, I'm rooting for the Dodgers to beat the Reds. And the Dodgers are leading 3-1 in the 5th inning. We'll see how that goes. One other thing we should mention with the Padres, and this still is a question that needs to be answered in my mind. Padres have not done well this year against teams with winning records. They just haven't. They're 22-31 right now. Against teams with losing records, they're brilliant. 38-15. So they've crushed losing teams. But guess what? Playing nothing but winning teams the next month, except for one series in Arizona. Starting tonight, Mets, Cardinals. Then you got the Dodgers, Giants. You got the Red Sox in there, and I think you got the Mariners. Nothing but winning teams. Can the Padres beat winning teams? They really haven't shown the ability to do it this year. Hate to tell you, Padres have played 18 series against winning teams this year. They've won 5. They played 11 series against winning teams on the road. They've won 1. Can you get to the playoffs that way? Yeah, you can, because right now they would be in the playoffs, but there's no room for error. And that is what concerns me at the moment with, 50 some odd, 60 games to go. Can you keep doing this with, while you're kind of teetering on the edge? I mean, when I left here Friday, Adam said, we can't lose this game tonight with Pivetta against Miles Michaelis. Remember you said that? And then they got shut out with an 0-for-9 left on base, 11 guys game that hadn't happened since 1998. And I thought, now that's it. And every time you think that's going to be the other, shoe's going to drop, they win the next 2. This team's got some fight. They've got something. So we'll see. Mets come in, they're having won 7 straight. They're playing excellent ball. Padres will look to cool them off tonight. Dylan Cease, either we hardly knew ye or, let's start a great stretch drive. Michael King threw his sim game today. We heard from him on the show. I'm sure you'll hear more from him on Sam Levitt's pregame show. Hopefully he's back soon. No target date yet, but this is a step in the right direction. Manny Machado is the hottest hitter maybe in baseball, and officially, because right now Will Smith does not qualify, Manny Machado is the leading hitter in the National League. He's the only 300 hitter officially in the NL right now. Going into the ball game tonight, he just went 11 for 17 against the Cardinals. Hopefully, Manny keeps it going. We'll find out. Coming up, Sam Levitt's pregame show shortly. I had one last thing. Don't want to end on a negative note, but you may hear this later. A New York City police officer and a civilian were shot late today outside a Midtown office building in New York. That building houses the offices of the National Football League. NFL employees had to shelter in place. They're all on levels 5 through 8. The shooting happened outside the building. Sure, you'll hear a little bit about that. We'll hear from Sam Levitt's pregame show. For Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, thanks again to Adam Klug. Scraby back tomorrow. We'll see you then on 97.3 The Fan.